Paint.
Did I say what?
The stream title should be Paint Monkey Paint. Paint Monkey Paint!
Hi, everyone.
Wow, okay.
Warning.
Here we go.
Yeah, I was trying to warn you, and then they were talking. Welcome. We have a wonderful guest here.
So I am here. Thanks for
Hello.
having me.
Miniac is on stream with us.
Who is that
today.
guy?
Excited to be here.
Oh,
Yeah.
hey, Jen, turn me down.
Yeah, way loud.
Nobody at all has any idea who this guy is.
No.
At all.
No, but I'm excited to be here. I get to tour the facilities today, see how paint is made, see how other things are made as well. I love doing behind-the-scenes content, so it's a real treat to be here and get to see all that stuff.
Yeah, it's awesome to have you here, man.
Yeah. Awesome
Yeah.
to be here.
And we get to hang out and paint.
Oh,
That's
look,
what-
it's
let's do it.
Ninjon.
Yeah, that's not.
Damn, we
No,
want him to
I'm-
stay the whole time, chat.
I'm the guy that created Ninja.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah,
We told him that yesterday, Scott.
I
said.
actually didn't know that until yesterday. This
We
is
said.
very cool to know.
We done told him. We told him truth.
And also,
passed
Paint
the
Licker, you're
truth.
fired.
Paint
Five the
Licker,
orders and they have a new employee.
Yeah, we have a new employee.
Paint Licker, you didn't even make it like a minute in before you got fired.
Yeah, didn't take long.
Yeah. New record.
We also have the wonderful Amber,
Amber, is she on stream?
Well, my voice is.
Oh,
Mrs. Miniac. Amber, she's the disembodied voice in the studio with us.
Oh yeah, I should probably paint, I guess.
So hi, everybody.
That's what we're like doing here.
How we doing?
Phoenix Mercer, this is a little bit late for us, yes.
It's a late stream.
Late start.
We've been doing all sorts of stuff, like launching 18 new colors.
Yeah, we've had,
Scott's been
stuff
shooting a bunch
going
of
on.
video.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll take my severance,
New
thanks.
It's been a heck of a day. Yeah, the new paint machine. Holy
Yeah,
cow.
You're
The
fired
new
from
paint
Cosmo.
machine
Get
is
severance.
running paints, chat. Running paints through the fully automated paints machine for the first
Oh
time
my gosh.
ever.
It's so awesome.
It is so awesome to see everything happen the way it should be and should have been.
should have been.
Since,
Yeah.
Discord was fixing to go feral, Awkwardish Panda?
Who was what?
You guys causing a riot on
They
Discord
were
again?
all real excited this morning. I had
Oh my God,
Discord
right.
open as I was individually putting all the colors live. And I was watching the comments in Discord of people like, it's happening.
It's
They're
happening
starting
right
to
now."
come in.
We're always here like, it's not really that big of a deal, guys, but it is.
Kind of a
It
big deal.
is.
They would tend to disagree with you.
Jess, it is indeed the Miniac.
Hey, this paint is all right. It's covering over black primer pretty fast. It's
That's
pretty
what
good.
it's supposed to do.
Yeah, I know.
Is there a right-handed painter at the table right now?
Yeah,
There
yeah,
is. Isn't that
You guys
crazy?
both
Weird.
left-handed?
We are
They're
both left-handed.
Oh my
left-handed.
We are both
We are.
lefties. You have entered the land of the Southpaw, Scott.
Yep.
the Southpaw.
Land
Wasted
of the
mine. We got
Southpaw.
you. We got you fixed, right?
We got who? What?
What's up?
Yeah, we got
No,
Wasted
sorry,
Mind.
I-
Wasted
someone
Mind
in
had
chat.
3 flame-on sets. When we first
There was a
launched
little
the
mini
paints this
glitch.
morning, all the buttons for the sets went to the same set.
Just on one page. Just
We
on
weren't
one
trying
page.
to pad Mashik's numbers.
Yeah.
I swear. Everybody in the world gets 3 sets of Mashik's. Mashik gets huge payday. Everybody else is mad.
Be a whole lot of refund requests.
Oh, people on Discord are silly about the stream being so late. All right, that's why we've kind of been we've all
We did
been
kind
away
of tell
from
them
the
we'd keep them
Discord for
updated
a
on what
bit.
time we'd start, and then
Yeah.
we fell flat on our face. We had some technical issues.
Yeah, Game Delay. We told you yesterday.
You know
Who
what?
knew
I'm just going to
this?
blame Gabe. We can blame Gabe.
Yeah, he's not here right now. It's
Don't
easy.
blame Gabe.
Let's just
Gabe
do
has
that.
done Gabe and Chris have done an absolute
Gabe and
crap ton of
Christopher.
stuff over the past week. So we're gonna, see, I'm defending you, Gabe. We're gonna blame Jordan.
Nope. I'm sticking with my guns here. We're going to blame Gabe.
It's Jordan's fault.
Ghost Hunter was the first customer at his FLGS to buy the new paints.
Awesome.
Thank you, Ghost Hunter.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask. So the game stores had the paints when they got released on your site?
So we do the way we release new stuff is we do pre-orders for all the retailers and distributors, and we try to start that anywhere from 3 weeks to a month ahead of time. So right after Adepticon they could order. So as long as they got their orders in at the beginning, then a lot of people had paint days ago. We had some stores advertising it on
Yeah.
Monday.
There
Oh,
were some
wow,
stores
okay.
that already sold out.
Oh,
Yeah, there
so
were
you
stores
didn't
that were
make
sold out
them-
before we launched.
We
the
didn't
paint.
make them wait.
But yeah, it just depends. If let's say the source by you guys,
Yeah.
if they ordered, then they could have it in stock today and selling. We try really hard to make sure that retailers can be selling when we drop them live,
Yeah.
which has been our goal to work on. It's not perfect yet because we don't force them to order, so some stores don't get the news until people walk in and go, "Hey, where are the new paints?" And they're like,
Okay.
"Oh, we need to order those." So
Chuck, OMG, what is this? I don't like change.
This is a great stream.
Oh, I
This is
gotta
what we
s-
call a great stream, folks.
You gotta stay on camera here.
Jason's in the comfy chair
How was it
enjoying life.
pressing the button to launch the paints? I'm gonna be honest with you. The first few that I
More than
did,
one
I was
button,
like nervous.
Super nervous.
I was really nervous because I was like, I think I'm doing this right, but what if it's not right? And I was like, but I don't want to stop because I don't want to lose my place and forget one. And then I was like, I need someone to help me. And Shelby happened to walk by. I'm like, Shelby, go check for me. And so she was checking. And once she confirmed that I was doing it right, then I felt fine. And then it was exciting.
It is always good to have somebody double check your work when you're
Yeah.
pressing the go live button because it is kind of important.
Yeah.
But we're also, as a team, always set up to make sure that nothing completely breaks. And chat, you guys do a great job on the Discord. Discord let us know when things were borked straight out of the
Yep.
gates, and Gabe and Philip and
Why,
Jen
that's
fixed
the
it all
advantage
immediately.
of Discord getting 30 minutes early.
Yeah, how about
Yeah,
that?
Their quality control.
Yep,
Yeah.
your quality control.
We offered them
that's
the
how we
product
knew
30
about
minutes
the
easy
Flame
early
On thing.
so they could do all the testing for us.
We had
Guinea pig it, chat.
They were
Guinea
great.
pig it.
They were on it. We were able to get things corrected immediately before it went worldwide live.
Good job, chap.
Ryan Wallace says that you also have to paint the Ant-Man that is inside Thanos' butt.
Yeah, you did say that. Chat's going real fast. I'm gonna go back.
I don't know about that.
Boop, we're done.
Would you be willing to, somebody asked if you'd be willing to show off dark green brown?
Dark green brown.
Hold on, it went away. Where did it go?
Jen's super scrolling
Yes.
here.
Boom.
I
Is
don't know
it
if it was
back
above or
this
below
way?
where you're at. I think it's above where you're at.
No, here's that.
Oh, there
Here
it
it
is.
is, right here.
Tangent. Would you be willing to show off dark green brown versus drab brown and golden yellow versus bright yellow ochre side by side?
Okay, hold on.
Show them
So,
them bottles.
Are we showing them bottles or on the model? Like,
Just show
them.
bottles. You can tell from the bottles. You know, the swatches on the internet sometimes make it look like, a color is way closer than it is.
So, dark green. Okay, yep. So here's the first one. We have drab brown, which is this, versus dark green brown.
Yep. You have the paint cap. You have paint out of them, so you can show them on the cap.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say I'm thinking
There you go.
maybe it's more
That's where
of
you'll see
a
it.
out of the bottle comparison.
Yeah, this one I can definitely do out of the bottle. It's easy enough.
And Nutri mentioned, no, I don't think Jason did mention new paints, other than the ones that just got released.
I mean, we have
today.
18 new paints live if you hadn't heard Nutrimentia. They're available now.
Nick Pie had to recheck my order to make sure I ordered the right stuff. Had to do it sneaky like during work. Don't get caught.
What are you painting now?
So this is the drab brown.
Drab brown.
So they got a new sign here in the studio that says "Don't eat the paint," and I feel a little attacked right now.
It's right above our heads.
Don't eat the
You
paint.
should.
My wife says you should. Oh no.
Oh yeah, because you lick your paintbrush, don't you?
I mean, I don't do it proudly, okay? Just a habit that I formed since I was a little kid.
Yeah, I used to, and I broke the habit. Man.
How'd you do it? Did you like paint with like tape over your mouth for
We
like?
beat him.
No, I just forced myself to stop.
We beat him.
Okay. You're like just get good. That's what you just said.
Every time he licked the brush, we beat him.
No, be persistent.
Okay.
Standing up and painting might help with that.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm doing it right now. So.
Are you?
Yeah.
You're licking somebody else's brushes?
I can't help it. Okay.
Well, at least
I do
don't
not
lick
lick my
so we're good.
brushes. So
I guess, yeah.
I used to. Part of the whole two brush blending thing from the privateer press
Oh
days.
yeah.
Yep.
Dallas Kemp championed that method of painting.
Yes, he did. That was the privateer way at the time.
Yeah.
And then I was like, this is gross.
Yeah.
Corvus ordered some of the new paints this morning, and my wife was mad at me just as predicted.
Nice.
Lol,
So
she got over
You
it.
need to let her buy something too. Let her buy something for an equivalent value, and she'll be fine.
There you go.
All right, we got drab brown on the right,
Chuck's calling in sick
dark green
tomorrow.
brown on the left. Notice dark green brown. It's a little bit
Yeah,
warmer.
use up that PTO before you're
It's a little bit cooler over here.
They're quite different.
How
Nice
does
color.
choosing a shipper work? Your heart dropped into your stomach for a minute when you saw UPS. The UPS and USPS are you asking like how we choose the shipping options? Because UPS and USPS are the two. I mean, like, that's kind of it. We don't use FedEx because their prices are not as good. And I know that people think that shipping is expensive because it is.
Turns out it is expensive to ship
It is
things these
expensive
days.
to
Yeah,
ship
we
something.
ship stuff to like Europe from the States, and people are like, they email us and like, can you make this cheaper? And I
Yeah,
was like,
like,
can you
we're-
ask the government if they
Yeah,
can make
exactly.
it cheaper? It's like we don't have control over this.
Right. The
unfortunate,
prices
but
that
we
we
can't
have are
control
actually discounted too.
Oh
so,
yeah, we add on like $1 for shipping and handling, but that's about it.
Yeah.
That guy also, or that person also wanted to see a yellow comparison.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
the,
golden yellow. Thank you, Amber.
bright yellow ochre versus golden brown.
Golden.
Versus-
Oh, I thought
oh,
it was
yeah.
golden yellow.
I think it was golden yellow.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember.
These I don't need to. These are very different.
I think it's golden brown. Golden brown would be what the more confused color would be between those two, but they're still very different.
So we have-
Golden yellow and bright yellow ochre was
Oh, okay.
what was requested.
All right,
Okay.
yeah, they're
golden,
totally different.
Golden yellow right here. Bright yellow ochre. Two very, very, very different colors.
Yeah.
Ba-boom.
General Ginkgo got all 3 sets in the new texture trainer.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Yeah, there weren't a whole lot of the new texture trainers, so you got lucky.
Ooh,
Yeah.
we had some out.
They
for
are
people?
sold out.
Oh dang.
That was just a very short early production run, so there'll be more coming. We haven't even announced those yet. That was just a little kind of a special thing that we did for all the Discord and early birds.
Scott
that
over here
jumped
is
in there.
actually.
They were gone
painting
almost
one of those.
immediately.
I am, yeah. You have 2 shaders out right now, right?
The texture trainers.
Texture trainers.
Yeah,
Yeah, we have
two.
2 of them.
You're painting number 2, and number 3 is currently getting supported, and we'll have number 3 out. You know, I think we're going to release 2 and 3 at the same time. Brutal says ended up being busy at work today and lost track of time. Had a mini panic attack at 10 and thought for sure you missed the drop. Nope, there's actually still sets.
We're not sold out.
You know, a weird byproduct of this release that we haven't seen in the past is that I think the only sets that are in stock are the new ones right now. Everybody
Yeah.
had been waiting to buy other Pro Acryl sets until the new paints came out,
Yeah,
and I was
they're
surprised that
gone.
by lunchtime today we were sold out of every other set in our line, which is insane.
Yep.
Like, that means that a lot of people were buying into the line for the first time, maybe fans of Mashik and Louise who hadn't tried the paints before. So just a tremendous outpouring of support today. It's been an amazing day. Thank you, Chet.
JP got rockets. What are we releasing with Miniac today? Well, we released 18 new colors of paint today, and Miniac was here for it.
Yes. I'm here filming a cool behind the scenes video about how they make paint here and what other products they also develop here.
It was actually a very kind of funny turn of events that he's here on release day for new paints.
Yep.
And the new machine going live. All sorts of cool stuff.
All kinds of
So
stuff
he
happening.
gets to see right in the thick of it.
Yeah.
I know, it's cool.
Dark green brown implies the presence of regular green brown.
Perhaps in the future, yes.
Someday. I've always thought of you as a quality person, in control.
So what
and
are
very
you using over there
professional.
for the skin?
I am using Dark Flesh Advanced Flesh Tone and Pale Yellow. And now I'm working on the eyes. Typically when I paint faces, I'll do like some rudimentary layers on the face. And then when I like the direction that I'm going, I'll then paint the eyes. Just because when I'm painting eyes, I have a chance to like mess up the rest of the skin because I might like hit the eyelids or something like that.
Yep.
And so I want to kind of like dial in the eyeballs first, and then I'll start dialing in like the skin afterwards.
Yep.
See, I'm doing the eyes right now. I took some of the pale yellow and I mixed it with some of my advanced flesh tone to kind of get like a warmer color for the wide of the eye. And then I'll pop in the iris and pupil, and then I'll do a little specular highlight, then I'll go back to the flesh.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get a nice little bit of base coats going on the skin, and then
Yeah. How
Get
about
it all
you?
roughed
What are you
up.
doing? Some NMM?
yeah. So I'm doing some non-metallic metal gold. We're using some of the new colors. So we're using orange oxide to kind of boost up these orangey bits
Oh.
on top of the burnt sienna.
Okay.
Before I was using burnt red. This has a little bit closer color to what I was looking for. It is a little bit more intense and covers really, really, really well. So it's almost a one-step process.
It looks so juicy. It's so rich, you know?
Yeah.
It's
I really like.
Do
I-
not eat the paint.
Yeah,
Don't eat the
So
paint.
we have a sign now. We have a sign now. It says, "Do not eat the paint."
Will you guys play Baltic again?
No, I generally like to use like really, really bright, colorful colors.
Yeah. And I remember that. Looking at other stuff too. Like yeah.
Very rarely will I paint stuff like super drab.
Okay.
I think the most kind of like desaturated drab thing I painted of note was the new texture trainer, which I have right over here.
Yeah. Do you think there's a reason for that you prefer saturated colors, or is it just something?
I don't know. I think it's just a natural inclination of mine.
Okay.
Wow, that looks so good.
To work in these brighter colors.
Oh man. Okay. Don't show these next to each other. What the heck? Come on.
What do you mean? You got this. You got this easy, man.
That's a really nice
Jordan's
scheme.
is
You know?
done. You're just starting.
I was
We've
a little
told
inspired.
we've been
Yeah, by
told you
what?
know how to sling paint, Scott.
Take a look
so.
at the eyes and then you tell me.
The eyes.
Yeah.
Okay. He's Fremen.
It's
Damn.
his Dune color scheme.
I mean, you were inspired, but also you make lots of interesting choices that create a whole cohesive scheme here. Like, Chad, I don't know if you noticed, the silver NMM here has tons of very rich brown shadows, and like even the ochre cape here also has those same shadows. And so like everything here, even the gray of the beard, is kind of linked by this warmth.
Yep.
You know, it's done intentionally, and it looks good. It looks cohesive. It's good. I like a good scheme.
Yep.
This is a good.
It was a
Tubbikins,
blast
thank you
to
for
paint.
the sub.
Also, almost exclusively painted with the
Flame On.
Flame On miniature set.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I leaned very heavily into a lot of those colors.
Okay. Jason Al-Gaib.
Jason Al-Gaib.
Yeah, can we talk about Dune for the rest of the stream now, please?
I love that.
Dude, I've seen that movie 4 times in theaters.
I saw it 3 times.
Hell yeah!
there
All
you go.
right. Yeah,
Watch your
I'm enjoying it.
language. Scott.
Scott Dib. Okay, I'll take it.
JP Got Rockets, are you really asking about new paint? Because we released 3 new paint
new
sets today.
sets in our signature line.
Signature
One of them is the
series.
Adepticon spray team set, less of a true artist signature thing, but we're doing it in league with Adepticon for some really good causes they're doing. Adepticon is starting up a fund to help artists in our community. And as soon as they get all of that information set and all the not-for-profit stuff set up, we'll give you more information to pass along. But the proceeds of the sales of all the Adepticon sets go to that. And then, of course, the other signature sets are from Rogue Hobbies. Louise with her vibrant set, and then Mashik with his kind of desaturated non-metallic gold set that also happens to paint entire Jason Al-Gaib models.
This is totally Jason
No,
Al-Gaib.
I want to paint like a Fremen now. Now I can't get it out of my head.
Do it.
That's great,
You should.
right?
It's a blast.
But then you get like mine over there on the shelf next to you has denim pants, so I might do mine all Clint Eastwood. So
By the way,
It's bottom shelf on
I
the
don't know
left.
where it is.
Tangent was
Right side,
looking
yeah.
for actually golden brown.
Yeah, I
by
thought
the-
golden
okay.
brown was
so
probably
Jason
one.
Yeah.
was right. Sorry,
I
we're
also have
a
golden
little
brown.
bit behind on chat, or maybe a lot behind on chat.
It was bright yellow ochre and golden brown.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Golden brown. Right. Nice, beautiful color. Bright yellow ochre. And then yellow ochre in the middle for comparison.
Chat, what color should I
It's
make my
always
dude's
very
eyes?
difficult to tell
Blue.
in the bottle.
I can't copy someone, you know? I'm too much of a hipster to copy someone.
No, you can take it in a totally different direction.
That's true. I'll go for a cerulean. I'll go for more of a teal. How
Yeah,
about
there
that?
you go. There you go.
I don't know, have you seen the David Lynch Dune, like the old
I
sci-fi
did- I
original
have.
series?
Of
Like they
course.
all have different takes on Fremen and what it looks
Yeah.
like. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, we-
Actually, didn't we have somebody in stream who did all of the
Eyes.
Eyes.
Get out of here, paint
Yeah.
over here.
Yeah, we had somebody in stream who
For the new movies.
who did all the eyes for Dune, the
Yep.
Dune movies.
What do you mean, did all the eyes?
Does
Like,
the CGI?
The
Oh,
VFX?
CGI.
Does
Yeah.
CGI?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
fucking
CGI
sick,
and-
dude!
Yeah, it was super cool.
Wow!
Yeah, his last big project was doing the eyes
Canadian.
on all the people in Dune.
Okay. Make them blue but better. Okay. Oh, pink. We got pink in there. Lavender. Ooh, lavender would be cool. Cadian violet eyes. So do Cadians have violet eyes in the lore of 40K?
I don't know.
Do they?
I don't know. So it seems like how it's being implied.
Lies.
Lies.
I don't believe you.
Gamet
Could not
Ile says
possibly be.
these new paints are good, but they're no noosh. What?
Is that from Game at Elay?
Gamet Ile might be saying that because he has Noosh, but not the new paint.
Oh, and
Ah.
just to clarify,
Jealousy kicks in.
we have totally non-traditional versions of people's names that we just have adopted.
Okay.
So, Game Delay, his actual name is Gamed Ile.
Gamet Ile.
Gamet.
Oh, no, I do this too on my stream as well.
Gamet Ile.
And Wadtomaton is Wad Tomato N.
Right.
No, now
yeah.
he's Wad Potato N.
He's Wad
Oh,
Potato.
yeah, sorry.
yesterday.
I changed it yesterday. It's
Yeah.
Wad Potato N now.
Tomato,
Okay,
potato.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tomato
It's
potato.
pretty funny. Ever since I
Tomato,
came on stream
potato.
and I couldn't read Wadtomaton,
Spatsnat
his
says.
name has ever since.
So a thing that happened this
Wad
week,
Tomato.
Scott, is that everybody says we need to make moist medium for some
Oh
reason.
yeah,
Oh,
let's do
God.
it. Let's do it.
All right, that's it. We're
Miniac will
collabing
be the
with,
first signature medium artist.
Yeah,
It's just called
the
moist.
moist maker, dude.
medium.
It's just called moist. What is moist? We just go yes.
Never repeat that statement.
You don't like it, Jason? What do you think about a product name of Moist Maker?
Moist maker?
No. Yeah.
God.
What's it for?
I don't know.
Please elaborate.
We make names first here, not products.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm in.
Okay,
Sounds
sick.
like a wet palette.
I feel like we need
Yeah.
an OnlyFans for that. But,
We definitely should look into it.
so.
It's from Friends.
Moist
It is?
maker?
Maker.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the gravy soaked piece of bread in the turkey sandwich.
Oh,
Thanksgiving.
that sounds horrible.
Leftover Thanksgiving.
Probably was.
Paint liquor. We do not let guests, no matter how much notoriety they bring to the table, anywhere near the unicorn pen.
What?
See,
Where is
he
it?
hasn't seen it.
Okay.
No.
Now that I suddenly realize I can't do something, now I want to do it.
Don't press the red
You're
button.
not allowed to press the red button.
Hoosiers wants to know if you guys will play BattleTech again.
Ooh.
Oh, I know we're gonna play our new game.
You guys doing that tomorrow?
We have not talked about.
Yeah,
any-
I think tomorrow.
we haven't talked about playing any other games.
Probably not. I don't know if we're gonna have time for that, but yeah, definitely the
The
game. you guys
schedule's
are-
kind of full.
Yeah.
Got the new paints, brush cleaner, and a new airbrush based on what you described yesterday. Super excited. Mike, awesome. Didn't you go to your local gaming store? Was that you?
I remember somebody went
No,
and
that
bought like
was,
3 sets of
Who
everything.
was it?
Sector.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do I force my local gaming
yeah.
store to stock up on Pro Curl? And
Force-
especially brushes. Do they not carry it at
Force
all?
is probably not the way to go.
Well, I mean,
Maybe bribe them with cookies or something.
Mm.
I mean, I'm feeling that force is sometimes the right answer.
I
I mean,
agree
you
with
know,
Jason
you know them
sometimes.
better than we do.
But bullying works too, Ghost Hunter, yes. You might be making a second order right now because you forgot some stuff, Ryan.
Oh, Jason hired a new painter.
I'm getting old. I need a new blood. I just need to sit in the comfy chairs and heckle people.
Yeah, you're pretty good at that.
Paint, monkey,
Yes,
paint.
he is.
Did I miss a question about paints being out of stock?
I don't know. I didn't see one.
Seen Watomaton, Tomato, telling someone that when sets sell out, it's usually because
Yeah.
one or two colors within the set sell out. You can build your own set to get the same discounts you would get buying a set.
Yeah,
If
I
you
think
have
right
8 or
now
more.
we're out of about 8 or 9 colors. Unfortunately, those 8 or 9 colors are like 1 or 2 from each of our sets.
Yeah.
Yep.
So most of the sets, if you go to the paint set page, only the new sets will be available. I assume they're still in stock. We were getting really low before stream. But, and then if you look at the filters, you can filter by base set colors and things, and it'll show you all of the colors that are in stock, and there may be 1 or 2 out of stock. Realize you can add colors as you want on our site, and when you get to 8 or more, you get the set price anyway. It's not as convenient as just saying buy the set. We understand that. But you can always check back in. We're constantly filling. During the course of this next week, we will be catching up a lot on all of the other things that are out of stock. So we should be in good shape.
Gabe DeLay said, "May I say how much and how little I appreciate taking us to raid Eric Swinson yesterday. Watching him paint Space Marines like a Renaissance artist was inspiring / demoralizing / exciting."
Eric, you
I
right?
gotta tell you that pretty much every time we raid him, the next day someone comes in and says, "Wow, that was like, I'm so glad you raided him. I learned a lot." Or
Yeah.
yeah.
When does Eric normally
He
stream?
sucks.
I don't know.
That guy, he really sucks.
He's got
Okay, I
nothing, dude.
guess.
That Eric. I don't know. I'd assume his schedule is somewhat regular. I never can remember.
He streams like for a couple of hours
Once or twice a week.
once or twice a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he doesn't.
He's really chill. He doesn't really.
It's
He just
not
hangs
his,
out.
Yeah, exactly. He does it for promotion more than he does for revenue or anything like that. Like,
Okay.
he kind of does it for the same reason that we do it. I mean, we know it.
King Tone says, "Don't eat the paint." Proceeds to make a paint called caramel.
Excuse me, it's caramel. I'm
Jordan's
just
the box
saying.
art version. Yes.
Yes.
Wait
This
a
is the
minute.
one on the
Real
box.
Nicaprio says, "Finally, my favorite streamer and my favorite painter together today. Jen and Jordan. It was about time."
Nah.
Damn, Scott.
Roasted.
Oh.
I did not mean for you to come here and
Yikes.
get assaulted with this nonsense.
It comes with the territory.
Come to the territory.
But Jen and Jordan are here pretty much every day.
All the time.
Correct.
For crying
I
out
don't
loud. All the
understand.
time.
What is
But
that
then
mean?
it wouldn't be insulting. Then you know.
Procurl makes sophisticated sniffing paints. Wait, what?
What?
Don't sniff the paint either.
Yeah, don't eat it, don't sniff it, don't do other
When's
things
the
with
new
it.
paint coming out?
Have you checked the website?
Screwball.
37 weeks from now.
It'll be a couple of weeks from now after we sell out today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got to source, grind, and mix up new pigment. We were not prepared.
Did
You
shipping
are not
increase a lot?
Prepared.
I
No.
don't think so.
55 for shipping to Canada for 3 sets.
Just for the 3 sets?
There has been in the last.
Which carrier did you choose?
Yeah. Canada is in charge of a lot of that because what happens a lot of times is at the border it gets traded off to Canada Post. And Canada Post for a long time had a deal worked out with USPS, but I know that was a problem for them. There was some strike a year ago or a year and a half ago
Yeah,
or
I
something.
remember
All
hearing
that
about that.
changed. Canada became like, I mean, sometimes it feels like we can ship to Europe cheaper than we can ship to Canada.
I
Yep.
missed all of the suggestions on color for your eyes. Sorry.
Even
I'm trying to-
shipping within Canada is kind of crazy right now too.
Scroll through here.
It used to be flat rate under I don't remember how many kilos,
Yeah,
but I think they got rid of that.
they did. Yeah.
Somebody said good thing Scott isn't here in the
Oh yeah.
few months from now when all the garbage cans are melting.
That's
What?
false.
Is that okay? I was gonna say, is that a thing?
It gets really hot here.
It gets
yeah,
hot,
but the garbage doesn't melt.
No.
No,
Okay.
it doesn't.
You can literally cook lunch in your car.
You can bake cookies in your car.
You can put a
for
baking.
sure.
There are
It's a
people
nice
that, as a
air
joke or a
freshener,
meme,
like a
they'll
nice
put the cookie dough on the
smell.
tray in their dash, and then come out at lunch and they're baked.
That's not a joke. That's real.
That's a
right.
literal thing that you could do.
It's.
So-
I mean, it takes a lot longer than it would take if you baked them in the oven, but you can definitely.
Hours.
Why do you guys live here? Like, what?
We stay inside.
Okay.
Yeah, we stay inside.
Yeah.
You run from air conditioner to air conditioner, and you try not to touch
It's great
anything
for
made
me
out of metal.
because my commute to work is like 30 seconds, so I don't have to spend much time outside of air-conditioned areas.
Okay.
So, but I really feel it in the 30 seconds that it takes me to walk from my car to
You
my
need a still
apartment
suit,
door.
dude. Yeah, to
Yeah.
get in the building.
Hey, you know what? I'm just.
So
absorbing all that.
Tubbikins says finally got a chance to test Noosh on a vehicle. What'd you think? How'd it go? We
Tell
want
us.
to
Well,
hear.
Italian fingers.
Yeah, it's like
good.
good.
Yes.
Oh,
like it's so good.
Yeah.
He's like,
Gotcha. Okay, perfect. Perfect.
Yes, the Moist Makers of Friends reference as a thought got it. Yeah, I can't.
I thought Scott was doing a riff on Noisemaker or something. Is
I've
that
never seen Friends, so I thought I was being cool, but I
You've
guess
never
Oh.
seen Friends?
Neither have I.
No.
Gosh, Jordan, that doesn't surprise me.
I know. I'm aware of this.
Having your name changed in stream is going to end up being like a badge in Boy Scouts.
Yeah, who's up
Says,
next?
says Muck the Cheat Man.
Muck the Cheat Man. Moist Media makes paints dry in 48 hours.
Scott, you're blocking the camera with your
Calling
face.
you out, Scott.
Shoot. Yeah, you gotta get used to this new setup. I've never stood and painted before. This is
It
all
is different.
it's new. For
Never
me.
really.
Never, yeah.
I mean, like maybe like once, but I can't remember.
We switched over to standing desks probably late
At the
2016, early
Old
2017.
house.
Huh?
The old house.
Oh, yes, it would have been 2016. So in 2016, we switched to standing desk and have never looked back.
Okay.
I do not enjoy sitting to paint.
No. Do you feel like you have more stability and control standing up?
Tons.
Okay.
Yeah, tons. Yeah, because you can set the table to where it's kind of, and that table's set for my height, but you're pretty tall, so it's meant to be to where when you would naturally bend your elbows, that you can just saddle up to the table and put your elbows as a good stopping point, and you don't have to bend your lower spine or roll your shoulders in towards the front.
Okay.
You know, because when you sit, you're always constantly rolling your shoulders forward.
Okay.
And that's what causes all that neck and back pain, upper back pain.
Okay.
Because you
Luckily-
can't really rest on your elbows properly. Here you can use your whole forearm kind of as a stabilizing point.
I'm pretty lucky in that I don't get a ton of back or neck pain, but I imagine that might change with age. We'll see.
JP got rockets. Take it easy, man.
That guy.
Effing Eric.
that guy, jeez.
Sorry, I'm trying to catch up. If you've asked a question and we like a long time ago and we haven't answered it, can you type it again? Because we got real behind.
The chat channel on one of these screens is like.
This one is current. This
Right.
is the one that I'm looking at for these.
I think you need
guys
to
here.
hit the new messages button at the bottom.
No,
It'll-
I know. I'm just trying to make sure I didn't miss anything.
Oh,
So
okay,
I'm
okay,
just-
okay.
I'm trying to
Yeah,
scroll
they've
through.
been highly active. You know what chat was when you invited Miniac? Well, I didn't think. I thought you would like maybe change.
Look, we expected more from you guys today
I
because we have guests.
I thought we had this talk, chat.
So don't
I
let us
thought
down,
that you guys would be
please.
polite and welcoming, but you're just yourselves.
Chad?
We're gonna. Do you see what Scott has to deal with, chat? And do you see what Jason deals with, Miniac?
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
my gosh.
Wait, you guys make paint?
No way.
Nah,
Not a possibility.
not us.
We make lots of paint.
Why would we do that?
No eating, no sniffing. What about use as eye drops? The paint? Oh my God, Mike. Now I know why you got your name. Miniac better be using Croker right now. He is.
I am.
There's
He
nothing
is-
else allowed.
And
We
I'm
don't have
enjoying
any
it.
other paint in
don't
our
have any
building,
now.
We
unfortunately.
really don't.
So it's like you're kind of stuck. You come here, guess what you're using? Ours.
Well, luckily, we manufacture paint. So
Wad potato. We'll see you when you get back.
Wad potato.
King's Sky, I haven't seen the new texture trainer yet. Can we get a shot of the mostly painted one? It's all painted.
It's all painted. That's the
Fully
box
painted.
art one,
That's
the
the
one that
box
Jordan
art.
showed.
You-
That's
you
the one that's
mean
on the
the-
box art.
The painted one.
Yeah. That is Monsieur Box Art.
You sure have a lot of rules about what we can't do with the paint? I think we just have
Painted
one.
by your
Just
very
don't
own.
don't consume the
Tony
paint.
LaFontaine.
Miniac is like Minnesota,
Yeah.
right?
So
he's
rather
used
than
to
the
the other
melting
extreme.
trash
Yes.
cans, you have the frozen everything.
Wasteland.
Yep. Yeah. So we just moved from heated building to heated building. That's what
Yeah,
we do.
and that's what we do in the summer.
Right.
Air conditioned to air conditioned. And
Yeah.
everything, like all public places are freezing cold. Like they crank the AC. So if you go to a movie theater, you have to take a sweatshirt
Oh my God.
when it's 115
Yeah, it
degrees
does
outside.
get crazy sometimes where you're like shivering and it's the middle of a Arizona summer. You're like, this isn't right. I'm in shorts and a t-shirt for a reason. Mom and Dad had a black van when you lived in Phoenix. What did they do for a living?
Boil alive.
Big Bob. Well, we're not going to talk about that.
Right? Yeah, came to lay
I
nose.
could tell you, but then I'd have
Minnesota
They have
mosquitoes are the
literally
size
one
of
rule about what you
hummingbirds.
can't do.
Not where we are. In the city, they're not that big.
Like when you get towards the water, yeah.
Or northern.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Phoenix is a temple to man's hubris. Let's build a major city on a dried up riverbed because it makes sense. Who the hell is that on the left, Baca? That's younger Jason.
Young Jason.
That's my rap name.
Young Jason.
Young Jay-Z. Too much a hipster to have watched Friends. Oh.
I'm not a hipster, but
They're
I'm,
just
you know,
young.
I'm 32. Yeah.
They're just young.
Also, I don't know if I'm super into sitcoms too much. I
I'm
haven't
not
seen a
either.
lot
That's
of
what Jordan
sitcoms.
says.
Don't
too.
feel bad about it. I'm not either. I don't ever watch them. The only time I know them is because Jen has them on.
Yeah.
And I get caught up in them. Like, there's some good humor that happens, but it's still never enough to make me watch it again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not.
But yes, I am too much of a hipster, though. Yes, I'll admit to that.
Bayonne heard it got so hot that some places in Arizona had to build AC tunnels so people could travel from building to building. Not that I know of.
I've never heard of this.
They do that on the
pretty much
University of Minnesota. They have
Yeah.
tunnels
Yeah.
below.
For the
Yeah.
colds. Yeah.
Yeah.
Underground and
wow.
in downtown they have skyways.
Skyways.
Well, when I lived in
remember from when I was a
Pennsylvania,
kid.
in downtown Allentown, back in the heyday, they have these spots where you would wait for the buses that went underground and were on like a communal steam system for downtown, and it was heated with steam from an oil-fired boiler.
Dang.
And a lot of the houses that were in that downtown area were powered on the same steam heat for their houses. So I bought a house down there, and it had radiators that were all steam-vented radiators, and you had a huge boiler in the basement. And it didn't used to have its own boiler. It used to just be tied onto the city with a big flap. People would go downstairs and just move the flap to let more or less of the heated
My
steam
God.
into their house. How horrible is that?
Yeah.
It's like a nightmare.
That sounds like huge pain in
Please,
the butt.
please tell me Baby J did not reprime Thanos, and this is a different one. He did. He reprimed it and is painting it again.
You know, I was thinking about stripping it and starting over. Ooh, should we have Miniac reprime something of mine?
Why?
So King Tone, hold
a kink of
hold
yours?
Jen.
Kinda.
King Tone says, finally had some
No,
time to
but
hobby and
yes.
understood how to use Procurl on the palette. I'm in the same desert as you, so I had to learn to manage the water and dryness on the palette. The wet palette, yeah, definitely. Glad we were able to help.
Yeah,
You would need a
the-
new camera rig if you switched your desk over to a standing desk? Why so?
Just lift it up.
Maybe you got it on a stand that isn't tall enough.
Me?
No,
Oh, someone else in the chat.
someone in the chat, yeah.
Gotcha.
Who would you suggest to get a good what?
I don't understand the question, JP Gray.
You having a stroke?
Most important question, will we be at SawCon? No.
Never heard of it.
SawCon?
That sounds scary.
I would really rather not be involved with anything with the name Saw.
Baco's like, you thought chat would change. Are you out of your freaking mind? How long have I been doing this? 8 years? You've never changed once.
Are we pretending that Scott's chat is somehow less degenerate than this?
I mean,
Well,
I've been there and seen them. So
All right.
Awkwardish Panda, you always set a good example.
yes, that's true.
Comedy is like, if you love us, don't try to change us.
We are expecting more from Jason.
So you guys invited Miniac and thought that your chat and his chat would just combine like paint and turn into something unexpected? Yes.
Yes.
All friends here.
We want magic.
We are all nerds of a feather.
Do you believe in magic?
Yes, I do.
Does chat get off topic here ever?
Oh, no. Never.
We do.
Never.
Often.
Chat is always as straight as an arrow.
Yeah.
Let's let chat answer that question. What are some of the things that have gotten us off topic?
No. Chat knows how to derail me for like 3 hours. If they start talking about like Horus Heresy lore.
Oh boy.
Well, that's not off
God.
topic. I mean, it's kinda.
Depends on what you were talking about before.
Yeah, I suppose so.
And when we're not painting anything close to Horus Heresy, you know.
Yeah.
Tangent, the only way to edit an order you made a couple of hours ago is to email us at support. We will not be fulfilling those probably until next week sometime. If it was really only a couple of hours ago,
Yeah.
it's going to take us a few days to get through all of the orders today. There were hundreds that came in,
First 30
before,
minutes.
like 10 o'clock. Yeah. So email us at support. Be specific in your email about what you want to change, and we'll take care of it for you.
Yeah, they'll get you set up.
We'll get you squared away.
Steam tunnels.
This is annoying.
Allentown. When were you in? Oh, Extrian, do you live in Allentown? I lived there from 2001 to 2004. Right on, I want to say it's 7th Street and like the main area there. I bought one of the old Hess houses there downtown, old brownstone. Really iffy neck of the woods. I also lived in Emmaus for a brief period.
I love this division ring. I was thinking about how to explain the Pro Acryl paint range recently, and it occurred to me you could pretty accurately describe the range as artist paint, but for minis.
Oh yeah, that's a great way to say it.
Thank you.
Our paints are built like fine art paints.
Naked Thanos, this isn't that kind of stream.
I'm pretty sure he's wearing all his armor
Stripping Thanos.
and clothes.
That's stripping
Like,
Thanos.
this guy's got very little skin showing. I'm gonna be honest with you all.
Division ring, exactly. And that's exactly why we build our paint range that way, because our paints are built as fine art paints. And if you were to go buy fine art acrylics or whatever right now, you wouldn't buy a whole nother line of fine art acrylics to paint in another way. You would just buy the medium you wanted to add to your fine art acrylics. Because color matters, right? You want to have a good base color that you identify with to start from, and being able to then turn that into a better glaze or a wash or whatever, I think is more powerful than going and selling you a bunch of more paint. That's just our
Zambies.
philosophy.
Hi, Zambies. Sorry, we're super
Zambies?
behind on chat. I
What
keep
the
saying that.
heck?
No need to point it out.
What do you have planned for TT3? Hoping something that shows more skin. The texture trader number 3 is called the Crone.
It's very cool.
The Crone.
I love that.
We will
seeing
have
milky
we
white
will
eyes
have
and-
we will have another texture trainer that is more flesh.
Here we go. There's been a day we
Pickles.
talked about pickles.
Pickles.
Oh, yeah, let's-
pickles
We
will
talk a lot
derail
about
us.
tartar
Yesterday?
sauce,
Pickles
but
and
not
tartar
as much
sauce on
anymore.
chicken.
Anything food will get us off topic.
Yeah,
Okay.
food generally leads us down a very long rabbit hole.
You guys
Ghost
chat about
Hunter
movies ever?
feels like we're always
Oh,
on
movies
topic.
will
Or no,
kill us. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Movies will get you there too.
Allow me to ask a question that I ask everyone when I meet them for the first time. Feel
Yeah.
cool with it. Can everyone on set answer this question? What are your top 2 movies? Not top 2, but 2 movies in your top 5 in no particular order. So it could be 4 and 1. It could be 2 and 5. I don't care. But top 5, 2 of them.
B movie and B movie 2.
Hell yeah! Okay, hold on.
Wait, there's a second.
for real?
movie?
There's a second B movie?
Yeah.
We've only
Okay.
seen the first, and it was.
Oh,
great.
what are you doing?
All right. Well, no one else has to answer the question because Jason won. So
All right. Well, you're not getting my
no,
answer then.
I do want to know. I do want to know.
So my number 1 is pretty strong at number 1.
Okay.
It's Good Will Hunting,
Okay.
which is an excellent movie.
I actually haven't seen that movie. I know it's classic. I and I haven't seen it.
How about them apples, folks?
Yeah. I haven't seen it. I'll
I
admit
just
to.
am stunned that Jordan gets to say he's seen a movie that somebody else in the room has not seen. That never happens. It's always
That
the
never
other way around.
happens.
He literally hasn't seen the movie that's the origin of the How About Them Apples.
That's not the origin.
That's not the
Is it
origin.
not?
That's a phrase
That
that's been
is-
around forever.
Ever.
Oh yeah.
Well, excuse me
Okay,
then.
hold on. Before you do your
Whoops.
second one, there's 2 things I have to
I got
say.
it.
I have to say that first of all, Spatsnat makes a very good point and says occasionally we get off topic and talk about paint.
This is also true.
Oh, there it is. Right.
Technically,
Okay,
I guess
yeah.
we could look at this as general topic around here is nonsense.
Okay.
Yes.
And then we get off topic a lot, and sometimes we talk about sensical things.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And then the other one, really quick, is that Zambies lived in Allentown at the same time you did, Jason.
What?
Oh,
You're kidding me, Zam.
that's cool.
I can't even remember the comic hobby store that I hung out to in Allentown. I could probably drive to it.
Zambies probably does, though.
Just throw back my legs and pollute my britches with delight.
Zambi
Sapo,
says
thank
The
you.
Crow and the Labyrinth are her 2 favorites.
Ooh.
Blues Brothers and Aliens. Oh boy, that's a tough duo right there.
Those are solid. Those are solid picks.
Panic Bomb right now. It's Dune and Dune Part 2.
Hell yeah, brother.
Okay,
Solid.
Jordan. Sorry, Jordan only said his one because I interrupted. But Jordan, go ahead and you can. Say yours.
No. Now you don't get my number.
Somebody
What?
better say Galaxy Quest.
I didn't ask. the
Galaxy
question.
Quest rules.
I'm
I love
just
Galaxy
kidding.
Quest.
Don't
I'm
get
just
mad
kidding.
at
Dark
me.
Crystal and the Creator. Okay, so I think the Creator is very underrated. I really
Okay.
enjoyed that movie.
Oh, I didn't see it. It's only on Hulu right now, and for me, I can only watch Hulu movies with like 2.0 stereo.
Yeah.
When I watch a sci-fi movie, I want like the full
You need
spectrum
it.
of sound.
You need it,
know?
yeah, because it has good audio too.
Right. Yeah,
so.
I want to see that movie though.
Children of Men also amazing.
Children of
I've
Men
seen
is
a lot
also
of really
good.
good movies here.
Chat's got
Children
good
of Men is
taste.
awesome.
I gotta think on my follow-ups.
Okay.
I don't normally think about the ones that follow behind.
Okay, but you know the number.
That's
one.
my number 1.
Okay.
Punisher knows Zambies never came to visit.
Um,
She's dead to me now.
She's dead to me now.
I'm trying to think of like. I mean, I can definitely share a couple more that I think are like.
I never met Billy Joel either,
Contenders?
so I was
Really
really
good,
bummed.
yeah. I think all the Lord of the Rings movies
Hell yeah.
are really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, Dark
I've
Crystal
never
and
seen
Black
those.
Hawk Down. Odd pairing? I'll allow it.
I'm gonna be honest. If you haven't seen those, we have a problem.
My wife actually just saw all Lord of the Rings for the first time, maybe like a month ago.
What'd you think?
I am glad I never have to watch them again.
Brutal, but yeah, like,
That, you
understandable.
know what? That makes me sad a little bit.
Brutal.
It does,
It does
you
make
know,
me sad.
yeah,
but
it's
understandable.
okay. As her husband, it makes me sadder.
It's like I can respect your opinion there. However,
Makes me sad.
It makes me sad.
Major Payne and Ben Hur.
Never know.
Like completely
Quite a
opposite ends of the
combo.
spectrum. Are you trying to? Because Ben Hur and B movie are up there together. So
Ben Hur
How
and
dare
B
you.
movie. Who said that, dude?
I did.
Oh my gosh.
Honestly, I'm a big
Red
TV
Violin
show
and the
person.
Fifth Element.
show?
Fifth Element, very good. Red Violin. Do I know Red Violin? I don't know that I know this movie. The creator has a really unique East Asian slum. Yeah, it had a very. It reminded me of like District 9.
Yeah,
Got real quiet.
I'm more of a TV show guy. That's part of the reason why I haven't watched as many movies. Back in Seattle, I used to have like a weekly movie night group where we would start to go through the colossal list of movies that I haven't seen.
Okay.
And we
Chris
got pretty far.
ran very good.
Yeah. We went through a year and a half's worth of movies.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good. So
That's awesome.
got me caught up on a lot of that.
Okay.
But yeah, no, TV
Don
shows
Gibson, no.
are generally what I tend to watch more
I
frequently.
know, I saw that.
Don Gibson just came to the office to pick up all of his new paints from his order and didn't know Miniac was here. Would have loved to say hello and thank you for giving me directions with all his videos back in 2018 when he started this hobby. Well, I'm sure that warms his heart.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate hearing that. Do you guys do pickup in the office still?
Yeah, they can do local pickup.
Songer 73 was here as well today.
Oh,
Yep.
cool.
Yeah, you can do local order for pickup if you live in the Phoenix area. We also have like 7 or 8 dealers in the area too, so
Yep.
we don't get near as many pickup orders as we used to.
Okay.
Because of all the retailers that carry it. But yeah, Empire Strikes Back and Tombstone, both good movies. Tombstone's amazing.
Tombstone's great.
Creator
Okay.
was such wasted potential. I agree. I feel like it could have been so much more, but on the budget they had, I thought they did a really good job.
Did you guys watch that Rebel Moon movie?
Lord of
I
the
thought it
Ring
was
is God tier, and I'll fight anyone who thinks differently. All right, Amber Zambi's war coming.
so good.
I mean, like, there were parts of Rebel Moon that were really cool.
Nope. No, it's
Legend
bad.
and Atomic Blonde.
Like, there were big, like, sci-fi, like, vistas of planets and stuff, but, like, that movie was kind of a train wreck.
You almost held a straight face the whole time during that. I saw the corner of your mouth twitch.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got him.
I never want to just, like, shit on a movie someone actually likes. But yeah, that movie was a bit of a meme.
What is this?
I turned to him and I said, you know what movie I really liked was that Rebel Moon movie. It was awesome. He turns to me with like a relatively straight face. He's like, But I saw the mouth twitch and I was like, oh, I got him. I got him.
Somebody said Rebel Moon 1 and 2 are their favorites. So.
I
Well,
saw
two
that,
isn't out yet.
That's a lie because 2's not out yet.
Yeah.
Big Bob, your opinion is valid.
As the
George
thought says,
woke up
Scott
and chose
Pilgrim.
Violence.
I love Scott Pilgrim. That's a great movie.
That is a good movie.
Amber and Chat Cage Match 2024.
Oh, that was funny.
I'm just not super into fantasy.
Yeah.
Fantasy movies are really rough because, unlike sci-fi, they tend to be locked into very like similar looks and types of things that are in them.
Yeah.
There's always a dwarf. There's always an elf. There's always an orc. I, as a kid, had such a tie to Tolkien that for me, when those movies came out, it was like a lifelong dream because I could remember back as a kid saying how great it would be to have movies like that and everybody being like, well, you know, Lord of the Rings is something they could just never make a movie of. And so when it finally came about, I was like, I'm just glad I lived through an age where we could actually get those movies. Because even though there were some inconsistencies and all that kind of stuff, I really thought they were good. But I also understand why some people do not like them at all.
When we watched the extended versions, and the last movie was 4.5 hours.
Oh, it's brutal, right? It's like
It's
12
so
hours
long.
of sitting there.
Yeah. Well, we didn't do it all in one sitting. We definitely even broke up each movie, but
Yeah. Also, one thing that I think we all take for granted, having watched Lord of the Rings like a million times, was just how massive the story is, and how many
Oh, yeah.
characters there are.
Oh, yeah.
There's so much to track.
Yep.
And she's literally never seen it a single time or read the books, and so it's just like, it's hard to keep track of all these dudes, all these white dudes with long brown hair.
Yeah,
Like,
they
they all
look
look the
very
fucking
similar.
same. So, yeah, it's tough. Or, sorry, I swore. My bad.
also Rebel Moon Part 2 came out on the 19th. People are
Oh,
saying.
Yeah.
did it actually?
There's a
Yeah,
part
it's
2
been
already?
out.
Oh man, I
It's
need to
been
go
out.
watch this when I get home.
No, you
Dude,
don't.
Rita
what?
said that it's also bad though.
No, you don't. It's horrible.
Did you watch it?
No, why would I do that?
I mean, it's good for.
Why would I do that to myself?
I figured that you would watch it
The
so that
first
you'd be
one,
able to
the
talk
first
with
one
it
made me
about it
so
with authority.
furious that I won't watch the second one.
It really
The
does.
Beatles
like,
wanted to make a Lord of the Rings. That doesn't surprise me after like Yellow Submarine and stuff. They were pretty trippy. It could have been. It could be. I mean, Bakshi and that whole thing with like the Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings and the Rankin Bass stuff. I mean, there was some pretty crazy stuff in all those. It was good. Lord of the Rings Extended is probably better for fans who already watched the original edited versions. Yeah.
I was told there's no other version. I knew there was. I mean, I know there is, but there's no other way to watch it, is what I was told.
That's what everyone says, though, right?
Yeah. That's
Every
true.
single person has
It's
said
true.
that, except that person, which I don't see.
Yeah,
anymore.
that yeah. Maybe you're right. Yeah, I kind of want to watch Rebel Moon Part 2. I mean, I know the first one was bad, but
I mean, I'm gonna watch it just so I can explain to people how bad it is.
Yeah. Oh, hey, someone said Block Cauldron and Fire and Ice. Those are both great ones. Too.
Tubbikins, yeah, Fire and Ice, all the rotoscoping stuff.
Yeah.
If you follow
right,
Ralph
Jason?
Bakshi, you'll get a lot of the behind-the-scenes photos that he shows. He loves to go back and show the history of all that stuff. And Fire and Ice is one of the big ones he has a lot of material from. So he'll show the live actors in those scenes that they're in. But it was a very weak story.
Evan.
It was kind of a cool visual. Wizards will by far and away be my favorite Bakshi movie of all time.
I still haven't seen that one, but I want to.
She's sitting right next to Jason.
She's right here.
You know what
That's
I will
Evan.
say
Evan!
about the Lord of the Rings movies
What was that?
is if those movies never came out, I would never have likely never gotten into The Hobbit.
Oh, because you picked up the Lord of the Rings minis?
Well, I picked up the minis when the movies first came out.
Nice. That's
I saw
awesome.
them in a Borders books.
Oh.
Oh,
which is-
Borders.
Yep. If you know, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, I convinced my parents to buy them for me, and it was all downhill after that.
That's the same thing for me. I went to a GW store. Mom was a huge fan of Lord of the Rings. She didn't like the demons in 40K and in fantasy, but she's like, I'll do Lord of the Rings. I was like, all right, sick.
Interesting.
Yeah, I didn't even know that the Games Workshop even existed when I got these. Like, because I had only ever seen them in Borders.
Okay.
Interesting.
It was one of those things where like I found out about Games Workshop through Citadel through the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, these are really cool. Oh, there's a company that makes these things. Oh, there's a company that makes these things that makes also other things. And then it was like, oh, cool.
Negative asks, Monument annual painting competition win. We have some things in the works that I think are going to be very interesting for people that want something like that. Perhaps announced later this year. 2001: A Space Odyssey for the scale of the set environment. One of my favorite movies. Like if I had to do a top 5, I think 2001 makes the top 5. I think that in there is Blade Runner, Apocalypse Now,
Oh, yeah, Blade Runner.
2001.
2001 Space Odyssey is so good.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
It gets tough after that because then I start thinking like timelines and there's so many good movies, but they don't survive well, you know. Like if I went and back and watched them now, it wouldn't be good. But I can go back and watch Apocalypse Now anytime. I can watch Blade Runner anytime. I can watch 2001 anytime, and they always stand up.
I haven't seen Apocalypse Now yet, but I do want to see that one too.
When you watch it,
Yeah, tell
also
ya.
watch the behind-the-scenes making of it, because that movie was wild.
Was
Heart
it?
of Darkness.
Hey,
Yeah,
Scott, can you
Heart
move
of
your
Darkness.
mini?
What? Oh, shit, sorry.
Heart of Darkness, the making of Apocalypse Now is a
Stuff.
must-watch after you see the movie.
Okay.
It is on par with the movie itself.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So does it have a narrative in it?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
When you realize everything that happened during the movie, it's insane.
Okay.
It's insane that
Actually
number one,
insane.
it ever got made because of all of the problems with the major actors that were in it. It's insane. Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right.
It's
You dislike Apocalypse Now, but it's because I hated reading Heart of Darkness in high school. Well, but they're not. Yeah, they're just not anything. It's based loosely on Heart of Darkness, and in its general sense, right? But it's so much different. And Heart of Darkness is a hell of a book. It's just tough to read through. It's a slog, right?
So is that also the making of the movie?
Yeah, the making of the movie is called Heart of Darkness because Apocalypse Now is loosely based on the premise of Heart of Darkness, the book, and that's an old book. And so they named the documentary of the making of the movie as Heart of Darkness.
Oh, okay.
You
That
okay,
makes
babe?
sense.
Oh yeah, sure. I think Kyle and Carter are here late, but go check. It's Jen. That's Jen running. That was Jen running by in front of the camera.
they were the play-by-play.
Evan asked how you liked Arizona.
Oh, yeah. So far, it's nice. It's nice and warm.
We
Definitely
had good
would
food
move.
last night.
Yeah, some good
I'm sure
food,
we'll have
good lunch, too.
I feel like we had good lunch. We'll have great dinner. So we're trying to woo them. Evan, we're trying to
I'm
woo them.
wooed because there's no winter.
If someone
Man,
can just
winter is
reset up
so
my entire
weird.
studio somewhere else,
Like no
I'm
matter
cool with
how
that.
bad
You know?
summer is,
Hey.
winter makes it.
You
worse.
guys being here, that'd be cool.
Winter's like, it's like the highest it'll get through that entire time is like 70, and the low is like the lowest would be like 33 or 34, and that's only when you're dead asleep. And by the
Yeah.
time you wake up, it's already back in the 40s, and the daily temperature would be like 57 or 62 or something. It's so great. Sun's always out.
Yeah, we were looking up Arizona facts, and it was like 85. What was it? 85% of the daylight is sunshine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's crazy.
Yeah, it's only during the monsoon season that you'll ever have a string of days that are cloudy. Although here recently we had some good rain for 2 or 3 days in a row. A lot of it happened when we were gone at a convention.
Yeah. The storms that we get, though, are kind of cool.
Yeah, Heart of Darkness was from the 1800. Oh, it was 1899. I thought it was earlier than that.
Wow, that's a long
How about a
time.
miniature convention in Phoenix, eh?
Hey,
Negative
bud.
says. We're talking with the I can't call them Comic-Con people here. It's Fan Fusion, but we've been talking with them. They're really wanting to bolster a lot of what they do with regards to gaming and such at the Phoenix Comic-Con. And since we're here, local, we're working with them to do a bunch of stuff. So there might be some fun things that can happen. That's always a deal where, the audience isn't really built around gaming right now. So it's an evolution. It can't just happen. We have to create it. So there's a lot of work to be done, but we're excited about, going down that path with them as much as we can help out. Zambi says, for the record, I would not fight Amber. Much respect, just love Lord of the Rings.
I wouldn't fight either.
Oh, boy. Amber's over here flexing muscles. It's getting really weird, Zambi's. You're in trouble next time you guys are in the same spot.
As a thought I have seen Ad Astra, so that's good to know that's also based on Heart of Darkness.
Yeah, but the Heart of Darkness is good. You loved Heart of Darkness as a teenager? The book? The original book? But you were also ridiculously pretentious. Well, that's a book for you. I turned 30 this year, and your old man body can't tolerate the winters anymore. Wait a minute. Back up. Back up. You just said you turned 30, and you said you have an old man body. I'm calling foul. What are you even talking about, youngster?
They're starting to discover what it's like to start getting old.
Yeah, to feel that bodily pain.
Yeah.
When you make up, you get a sound and it's involuntary. Like, what's that about?
Here we go.
Look,
I'm 32. I get it.
Here we
I'm getting
go.
used to the fact that I get up and my feet hurt.
Here we go.
That's a weird one.
Scott's knees hurt on the airplane. What was that about?
I was sitting in that cramped position for 3 hours.
Man's getting old. That's what's
guess
happening. Meanwhile, you're literally like a year different from me.
Phoenix, what are you talking about? What would you think of something like that in Phoenix, AZ? Having what, a big, large body of water disappearing? That lake was huge, and it's just gone. What is it called? Tulare, or I forget what the lake is called in California. You have to scroll back up, but there was a big old lake in California that just gone.
Is gone.
Just gone.
Oh, it dried up?
Just gone.
It got teleported by aliens.
I used to be able to hang out with my buddies and play contact sports for hours on end and then get up the next day like nothing happened. Now you're paid if you sleep slightly wrong. I got to be careful how I sneeze.
Yep.
Your knee hurts before it rains. Dude, if I get into spots that are like consistently humid, my big toes are my worst enemies.
What the heck?
Yeah, I have arthritis in both my big toes from playing hockey.
So what does humidity
I
do
skated
that?
heavily on the balls of my feet.
Okay.
And pushing off like that for so many years it's just really, really bad.
Okay.
Here in Arizona, never even think about it.
That's a
Yeah.
thing, Scott. Lots of humidity affects people's
Yeah.
like
My
think it has
arthritis
to
and
do-
stuff.
Having it be dry here is so great.
Yeah.
It's so great.
I think it has something to do with the fluid in your joints.
You felt generally worse in your
Ah.
30s than you do in your 40s. That's odd, but good, I guess.
Was it a
I
diet?
love when you sneeze and it cracks your lower back. I like when I sneeze and it puts me in traction for a week.
Yeah.
5 years in the Navy and rheumatoid arthritis broke you pretty good, yeah?
I almost pulled a muscle turning my body to look slightly to the left yesterday.
Armin, so we'll never come to Florida. I've been to Florida a lot. With my first company, we had an office in Florida, the Miami area.
Very bad experience in Florida.
Related to the weather?
I've never been. It was more than 30 years ago, and I've never gone back.
Wow. There's a story there, Chad.
Was there a story there? Yeah, you gonna
There
just drop
is
that
a-
and walk away from it?
You almost pulled a muscle turning your body to look slightly to the left yesterday. That's all right. I was leaning over the sink in the kitchen to wash my hands, and that's where I pulled my back the last time. Like, oh, that's good. I don't even have a good story.
Wasn't even
I
impressive.
was Pete. retirement home chat. Yeah, exactly. We're getting derailed right now, Scott. You were
Yeah,
asking.
yeah. This is what the
We're talking about
derailment looks like.
arthritis.
yeah,
This
talking
is
about.
old man stream. Thanks.
Scott, what color are you using on the beard?
I have a couple of different ones. So I grabbed the classic. I believe this is from Vince's set, Payne's Gray.
Yep.
And I repainted the whole beard in satin black just to, I'm not even showing it, just to have a nice base to work from. And then I've been mixing, just because it's out and available, I've been mixing bright jade with some bright neutral gray into that Payne's Gray to get a cold highlight.
Nice.
I couldn't find a cold, like light gray, but I'm assuming it's in your range somewhere, right?
Probably white blue.
White, yeah, something like that.
White blue is the closest thing.
But I would say Payne's Gray is the main thing over a satin black base coat.
Yeah, Adepticon paint, 6 colors released today.
Evan, you know
Well,
this.
they were sold out at Adepticon.
To be fair, his side would be easier to identify where things are than mine is. So
Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice setup, definitely.
Houdini says apparently
Mine-
Jen
mine
still
is
has a warrant out for her.
organized
Hey,
from the bottom
How long
right
do those
to
things
the
last
top
anyway?
left in numerical
She's like, they'll
order
never catch me,
of the
coppers.
release of the paints.
You'll never
Okay.
catch me, coppers.
And the first half is on the left side, not on the right side.
Okay. Well,
it
there's
goes
some
right
order
to
there.
left.
There's some order there. Okay.
There is order for me.
Are you Japanese?
I don't know. Well, no, but I don't know where I got it from.
okay.
I reached into my case at one
also
of the
bottom
cons
to
we were
top,
at, and he
not top to
organized my
bottom.
paints.
It's really.
He organized them
weird.
from bottom
Yeah,
right
like
to
a-
top left. It
So-
makes no sense.
Jason's
Well,
upset.
but
Old
then you
titanium
realize
white's
that you
number
just
one.
flip the tray around
No,
and
it
it's
goes
one.
this
It's
way?
gonna hurt
it's
your
in
brain,
order.
Scott. Don't pay attention to him.
Yeah, just flip it up. Yeah, flip it around. There you go.
No.
Yeah, right,
No,
left,
no, no.
top,
This
That's
is the
where
right
it should
way.
be.
Okay,
Top
okay.
left to bottom right.
The other
Jordan.
one goes on this side.
I
And
mean,
then
you've
it starts
established it now, so yeah.
But it's great because for Jason, all I have to do is flip it the way people talk.
Oh,
And
there you
then
go.
it's left
The
to
way
right.
most people, normal humans, would use it. Yes.
Yeah. I'm weird. I'm an alien. It's fine.
Jeez.
It's fine.
Houdini 7, thank you.
Don't mind me, chat. It's fine.
We will do our best on fulfillment.
You thought Florida
Patience.
humidity was bad until you went to the Philippines for work? Oh my God. That whole Pacific Rim, you go to like Thailand, even like China, Taiwan, all the humidity is horrible. Horrible. I had to go over there and like wear a dress shirt. And dress shirts for Westerners don't last but 30 minutes of after leaving the air conditioned hotel. You're just a sweat stain your entire trip. Now reorganize it again to mess with me? He already has.
I did.
We talked about it yesterday.
He hasn't touched it since I reorganized it.
No, I'm letting Scott mess it up again.
Oh man, that's
That
just
way
as
I
bad.
can that way it's not going to be so painful when I go over there.
That might actually be worse because he doesn't even. He probably can intuit basically.
Evan, I am
As long as
sorry,
it's a
not
system,
sorry.
you know, I'm down.
So sorry, not sorry. You had to remove all your AK paints to put our new stuff in there. Oh,
Sorry, not sorry. You'll love him.
File
You can order
18,
the-
Evan.
yes.
File 18.
A storm of wrenches. You can order the Rogue Hobbies and Adepticon sets now, and the Flame On Miniatures set.
That's a great name.
Okay,
A
so
Storm
these
of
sets were
Wrenches.
available at Adepticon, but not on the site yet. That's
Correct.
what. Okay,
Correct.
that's what's
Yes.
confusing me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we did a cheeky pre-release at Adepticon.
Oh, that's nice. Okay.
Oh, Big Bob, that is mean.
So Scott, you'll enjoy this. We
Very
did
neat.
the pre-release at Adepticon before we had final approval on the colors from the artists.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
That
So we
cause
did a
any
short
problems?
run of Adepticon color or all the colors that we could sell, and so those could have very easily become very limited edition because we could have had to have gone back and changed a bunch of the colors. Luckily, we didn't have to change any of them.
Yeah, Mashik really loved him at the show.
Right, yeah, because you were telling me about that earlier. I was curious, like, how much back and forth you have to do with those signature sets, but with Flameon,
He was happy right away. Yeah.
He was happy right away, but he didn't know it until he got to Adepticon.
there's a risk.
All these sets, Evan, are fantastic. They've got tremendous colors. You know, the Flame On set is not just gold non-metallic. It is a tremendous set of browns and yellows that fill a ton of gaps in the line. Obviously, Louise's set is super vibrant. All of those colors are so useful as like underpinning, like glazes to add, color and put some dimensional hue into shadows and things like that. But also just straight away kick-ass vibrant colors. And then the Adepticon set just has, I think, what will become like standard use colors for a lot of people. you know, when you look at satin black, Scott just used satin black, just a base coat.
I love satin colors, so yeah.
Yeah, and satin black is fantastic. But the red oxide, orange oxide in there are great. The metallic is over the moon, awesome. So,
I didn't
yeah.
know you liked.
Go Sue and Memory Gardens.
You know,
Thanks
I
for hanging
used
out.
the Scale Sanding 5 range for like 8 years. Like when matte
Take it easy,
paint
Gosu.
first came out and it was like super hype. And then I kind of got over it. And I really like satin paint because it helps with washing. It breaks surface tension better. They're more vibrant paints, and I can still get as good of a result with satin paints as I can with matte paints. I know people like to control the highlights a lot, but I don't think that it really attributes that much to the end result as people think it does. But yeah, I like satin ranges.
Oz Pete, we haven't looked at that yet. But I would bet that they are neck and neck and neck.
Louise right now.
Is it?
Yep. By a pretty good, well, I can't say a pretty good margin. They're all selling fantastically. So when we say that, but Louise's set is selling more fantastic.
This morning when they went live and I started looking through the orders,
Pretty even.
it was all 3. Most of the orders were all 3 sets.
Yeah, coal black as a matte black it makes it look more gray. And so satin black was always something we had been working on, and it was just hard to find a set that I wanted to put it into, and the Adepticon set made the most sense. Right? They're red and black and white as their main colors, so the red and the black made sense. The red oxide and the satin black were great.
Yeah. Yes. Nice deep black.
Squirrel Girl and Galactus once joked that Thanos is an emo nerd.
I mean, I guess.
What makes him emo?
The fact that he wanted to snap half of the universe to death to please Lady Death.
I mean, that makes him psychotic.
Not Lady Death. I can't say that because there's a Lady Death in other comics. But Death. He was trying to win her love.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the comics, that's what it was. Not in the movies, obviously. But and he got all sad and butthurt when she didn't care.
Brutal Burrito wants to know the thought process behind the colors for the Adepticon set.
It started with their main colors. They're red and black, right? So we had the satin black and the red oxide. And then I turned it over to their spray team because they do thousands of pieces of terrain, it seems, every year for all the conventions that have major tournaments. The Adepticon spray team paints a lot of stuff for other conventions and their own, of course. And they just have colors that are their go-to range that they use tons and tons and tons of. And they thought it would be very indicative of their way of painting and their whole process to have those colors. So the orange oxide, they do a lot of rusty effects. The metallic that's in there, the magnesium, is a exhaust manifold type color that they use a ton of. So they were all just colors that they use a lot of, right? The flesh tone and the drab were the other two. So with all of the artist series, even though Adepticon is not one singular artist, it's a group, they all still have their preferences, and they have colors that they either have to use so much of and are very hard to find here in the States that they mix all the time. So they just wanted to dial it into colors that were more specific to their own liking. And there we did. Now you got a set.
Store Wrenches, I bought some of your Bold Titanium White on the recommendation of a bunch of, I was trying to sound that word out, and then I realized it's YouTube people. That was the foot in the door for your paints.
I didn't know what that word was.
Yeah, I'm like, Ewatube? Ewatube? What? I don't know this word. Is that a typo?
Ewatube.
YouTube.
That's the paint that started the whole line. So
Yep.
it's a very popular entry into the line for a lot of people.
When are you going to get a PA Hull red? I think that between the burnt red is as close as you'll probably ever see from us. Zazin says, did you ever sell your Hulk? I haven't sold any of my comics yet. We got such an...
Oh my god.
It's not even worth talking about. We got such a bad
Sorry,
offer from a local comic buyer.
That just make me angry.
What's happening?
So
I don't get angry.
you'll notice that under the game table here is my comic book collection that I had. It started with my stepdad, and he and I if I had allowance money, I would go out and buy comics with him on every Saturday. And so there's a bunch of 1960s, 70s age comics there. And we went through on stream one day, and we're just pulling random books out of boxes and tallying up what the value for them would be, and got to a pretty high number for all of those books. And we've got some really, really rare books. And so at WonderCon, I went to some comic vendors and showed them photos of the books for the quality and told them the valuation and the price guide. And they all were, telling me the kind of numbers they would give me. And so it gave me an understanding of, what the value was if I wanted to sell it to a wholesaler, basically.
Okay.
And so we called up a local vendor here that we know and really like their store, and got a bad vibe from them right out of the gates. And then Jordan and Gabe took the books over there, and it was even worse than we could have ever imagined.
In terms of like,
it's embarrassing for them to have offered such a low number, and then try to make an excuse for why they offered such a low number. It's just not.
It
worth
was. Yeah, I cannot begin to tell you how offensive it happened.
Wait, what was the excuse for why? Did I miss that?
Well, he was just trying to say that the books weren't in the condition we thought they were,
right.
and he was doing the old "you don't know comics as well as I do" thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, we probably don't, but we know them better than that. We know them better than to think that we'll take the price of what one book would be for hundreds and hundreds of books.
He was also talking smack about the pricing guide that comic book people use
Worldwide. Yeah, worldwide.
Okay.
Whose pricing and valuation is based off of the sales of actual books.
It's based on sold comps for the comics that you're looking for.
dang, okay.
The story of your childhood, but with baseball cards, Songer. Yeah, I never had any baseball stuff. Your best bet is to do a
Little
consignment
graphic
deal for
fun.
comics. Yeah, Ryan, and that's kind of the thing. It's for the big books. It's just finding somebody that wants to do it. Because my preference is really to just be done with them. But we have a guy from Canada who travels the U.S. to all the cons, and he's one of the guys I met at WonderCon, and he and his wife would come down here when they go to San Diego Comic-Con later in the year and buy the whole collection. So that might be what I wind up doing.
I don't need to be a chef to know you burnt my steak.
When you see people compare paints, Pro Curl doesn't get first place, and I think you're using it wrong. Our paint is very different. And it'd be interesting, Scott's used our paint on some stuff, and it is very different from other hobby paints because we make it as an art quality paint in liquid form. And so as we do that, the flow of it is different right out of the bottle. And so we are up against the nature of the beast in that people have an expectation for how hobby paints work, and our paints don't work that way exactly. So you do have to kind of relearn the wheel a little bit with ours. And while we feel like it's really worth it, that's all up to personal preference.
Yeah, definitely don't eat the steak if it's burnt.
Wait, okay.
Some people like well done steaks, and those people
Those
should
people
not be
are
tolerated.
wrong.
I definitely did not hear what you said right away, Jen. Like it didn't compute in my head, and I thought you said something very different, and was like,
Well, Paint Liquor said, I don't need to be a chef to know you burnt my steak, and Game Delay said, don't eat the steak.
Don't
I
eat
I
the
said,
steak.
definitely not if
I
it's-
heard stink, not
stink.
steak.
Also, don't eat
And
the
I
stink.
was like,
Don't eat that either. No.
that's really weird.
Also, don't eat the
Medium
steak.
well
It's a
steak
very
guy.
weird thing to say.
Phoenix Mercer.
Thank you for that follow. I was Pete. You remember airbrushing with Pro Curl for the first time, not needing to use a thinner and audibly swearing because I was so surprised. Yeah, when you know what you're looking for, you can create basically a system
What do you need?
in air quotes that just works better right out of the gates.
A mid desaturated.
Scott once confided in me that he prefers his steaks to be cooked until dry and crispy like crunchy bacon.
Yep, that's true. Can confirm.
That's not true.
No, I'm a man.
Like, I've been out to
distinguished
dinner with
taste.
this man, and I do not believe that that's the case.
Oh,
But
that's right.
you
We've
know,
had
pretty
steak with him,
saturated.
and there
I think he's
definitely would not have
lying.
been well
Yeah.
done steak at that place.
I think he's lying.
He likes medium. Wait, yeah, medium rare.
Medium
right?
rare. Yeah,
In
medium
the
medium
middle
rare.
value range.
It depends on how the chef likes to cook, what their temperature choice is. is usually what we go with. But medium rare is usually my first choice. Though I've been to some places where medium
That
rare
one
feels
I
like
would
kind of like on the hoof.
What was that?
That one I
You know.
would mix.
Yeah, like
Not
rare.
quite blue, but
Look at
feels
that.
like it's gonna moo at you if you're not
The
careful.
closest thing we're gonna have is gray blue.
Evan says, "I never lie."
A little too
Oh, wait a
bright.
minute.
Actually,
I will
Scott.
take that though, just for the later.
I prefer medium, so I order medium rare.
And I'll get it back right away.
Probably
It's
get it right.
like a step above, like a step further in both directions.
Yeah.
Awkward. It says there's a definite learning curve, but once you understand how the paints work, it's hobby changing. Yeah, that's our hope. You know, and another thing, you know, we have some people that will touch our paints and say, you know, these are definitely for more, you know, it's in the name, they're more for pro users and stuff. But the reality is that if you're a new painter and you grab our paints versus, I mean, I'll throw it out there, almost any other paint on the market, you'll have a better experience learning how to paint with our paints than anything else. Because of how little fiddling and how little you have to know about anything else other than the brush and the paint to use our paints, right? You need water and our paint, and that's it, right? Now you can buy our mediums and do some really cool stuff with it, but that's for more advanced techniques and things as you learn and you want to do washes and turn colors into other usable techniques. That's great, but just as paint, it just works. That's what I wanted. I'm a lazy painter. I didn't want to have to mess with it, you know. So boom, Procro.
Put it in the happy box is already asking about target date for the next release.
The 24 to 36 color core line expansion. 24 to 36 color core line expansion. There's only 12 more colors in the core line to do. If you were here the other day when I said there is a whole nother thing of 24 to 36 colors coming, that's not part of the core line. That's something we have not given you much info on yet.
And we just released paints today.
We released
a little
18 colors
tired.
today, and we'll hopefully before the end of the year. I'm thinking maybe if we can get to like Black Friday-ish timeline for release of those 24 to 36. But we have a lot to discuss around here to figure out how we want to push that.
Jess said, "Man, I love this paint. Super easy to use and great to learn on. Thank you." Jamie, when I was younger, I was very put off by rare meat. And then I had a steak at a dimly lit restaurant, couldn't see it, and discovered I could like new things.
They do that intentionally.
You know what? That's how I learned to like escargot.
Yeah.
The first time I had snails was in a restaurant. I couldn't see what I was eating.
They fed it to you blindfolded.
Yeah.
They're like, guess what this is?
Or on the other hand, don't guess what this is.
Oh no, yeah. Just enjoy it.
Yeah, just eat it.
Jess says, so how much paint has Scott eaten so far? None.
0, we don't allow it.
He doesn't do that here.
They aren't watching closely.
Have you licked your brush since you've been here?
Absolutely.
My genie says it's impossible to tell because
Well-
Scott is already 30% paint.
Oh, I like that. You should put that in a t-shirt. I am 30% paint.
How many paints are in the line thus far?
126 or 128?
More than
75
that.
in the main line.
Total?
Yeah.
It was
126?
112 before we released these,
So, no. I don't believe that's correct.
including everything. 112.
Mediums and everything?
Yeah.
Yeah,
There you
that
go, there's
include mediums and
75.
primers. So take those out.
No,
Plus
no.
6 fluorescents.
Not including those.
Oh. I thought it was 126.
Plus
90
7
96 in the
additional
core
sets
line.
of 6, so an additional 42. 75 plus 48.
That's hard math.
Yeah, I mean that's like 112 or something.
Yeah, more than I can fit in my bag. Stop it. I'm not made of money.
75 plus 48 is
Can someone go on our website and tell us how many
Is,
paints?
That's why Miniac is bowing low in the frame so we can't see him lick the
122.
brush.
Yeah, 122.
He's ashamed. Feels shame. 122. There you go. I thought it was 126. Why do I think it's 126? I feel like your math is off.
It's
Probably my math is off.
yeah,
I have,
Yeah.
yeah.
I have my pocket computer. 75.
I'm
Plus
painting,
6
not mathing
plus-
right now.
Well, 75 and 42 is 116, right?
You could do 75
no,
plus
75 and 42 is
50
one-
minus 2,
I
right?
get 123 and then
Washes.
washes.
126.
126.
See? Don't mess with me.
I'm not messing with you.
I make these colors. Scott is just in goblin mode as soon as his hand touches a brush.
It's true.
Oh, is that what it's called? Is that what you call it? Goblin mode?
Yeah, I mean that kind of a common term, but I definitely turn into a bit of a goblin when I start painting.
Expensive in pots, all toxic.
What does that mean?
They kind of just scrunch up a lot, you know.
36 new different paints.
I also paint like right here.
Normally I paint like 4 inches from my face.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
just
not
36
quite that
versions
close,
of
but pretty
cadmium.
close.
Yeah.
Somebody likes us.
We're gonna release 36 bottles of pure cadmium, and you can just add pigment to it.
Ribs.
Yikes!
Enjoy
don't
paint
eat
liquor.
Willing to elaborate on whether the game you're working on is a miniatures board game or a war game? Negative. The first game we're releasing is a board game. It doesn't include any miniatures. It's just a card-based board game. We will have miniatures that will be kind of more like collectible style that you can buy in. That'll be really cool 75 millimeter paintable miniatures for some of the characters and creatures in the game. You can use them as more like meeple in the game, but it doesn't have any strategic bearing on the game to have miniatures. And that's true of the first 2 games for sure. Possibly the third release, although there is a release that could be in the third slot that has miniatures. That's a small skirmish game. And then we have a full-fledged miniature war game that we've been working on for, I don't know, a decade.
Hand-painted set of what? A hand-painted set of paint?
I ain't painting your paints for you. That's what you gotta do.
Damn it, Eli. The number of Pro Curl paints is like when you have a third child and there are more kids than parents. At this point, sure, add another 24 to 36. What do I care? Can't make me more overwhelmed.
Challenge accepted.
The next floor range will come in lead-lined paint pots. No reason.
No reason. We're just innovating.
Hand painted set of the 75 millimeter color.
Oh, gotcha. Phoenix.
1 million?
Yes, we'll get Jordan on that right away.
Yeah, I quit.
$1 million delivered in 2075.
Yeah, we are innovating backwards. Lead paint. Screw the rules. We'll find a way to circumvent the rules of lead content in paint. We'll hire a congressperson like you can do.
Well, then I definitely can't lick the brush.
He definitely can't.
Yeah,
lick the brush.
I would work on that sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Having
going
just
back
watched
to that
Chernobyl,
road.
I think something would happen inside me.
Yes.
Some kind of
Something might
mutation.
happen inside me. I'm in danger.
I'm in danger.
Weighted paint pots is actually a great idea. No more tipping, or just put them in dropper bottles.
I mean, our pots, when they tip, they don't do anything.
Yeah.
It's very anticlimactic. I think people are bummed because when they tip our pots over, they don't get to take a selfie
Yeah,
and put
exactly.
it on Facebook in their favorite painting group.
Hey Jason, what am I doing wrong with the paint here on the side? Is it splitting on the model?
What am I looking at?
So this side of the hood right here is normally gray paint, but I'm seeing a lot of like dark gray over here, as opposed to just like it drying straight like that. It's still wet, but do you see like the dark gray like pooling a little bit, or no?
I see dark spots on it.
Like if I paint over it,
It's really wet.
right?
Did you tear on your first layer?
Tear? No.
Beneath it?
No. So that's what it looks like when I put the paint on. But if I let it sit for a little bit,
Looks like it might be too thin.
is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, remember like what we were talking about. Our paints because they're a lower viscosity. A lot of the trickery with Pro Acryl, I'll call it trickery.
Trickery.
Is that when we're familiar with hobby paints, in order to get a ton of pigment in a hobby paint, you have to go with a thicker medium.
Hey, somebody
Right.
likes us.
And so when you have a thicker medium, your inclination is to thin it for viscosity first so that it feels better coming off the brush. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because you just want it to flow better.
Right.
And so you're thinning, and you're also working through that thickness and changing your opacity, but you have to thin more. Our paints are already very, what I call lightweight. So you don't have to thin for viscosity, you only have to thin for opacity. And so if you don't want a whole lot of, translucence to your paint, then you don't have to use anything more than just a little bit of dampness on your brush.
Okay. Good to know.
We do most of our painting with the paint straight out of the bottle.
Okay.
And that blows people's minds because you can still use it the exact same way technique-wise that you're used to. It's just you're starting with a totally different, what would you call it, base product, so to speak.
Thank
and
you
working
for
up from
those
there.
follows. Warm, wind-powered games, and voodoo. Thank you.
Thank
Welcome.
you guys. Welcome. Hey, all. With all the current really good metal paints from other brands, I was just wondering if you guys had thought about going back and touching up your metal paints. You love dark bronze, etc. When you say touching up, like adding more colors or changing the way they work?
Worm is asking if it's easier to achieve a glaze with our paints. Well, we have a glaze and wash medium. Which
I
makes it
believe so.
super easy.
Yes. Even without the medium, I believe so. But again, techniques are learned, and if you've been glazing with other paints that require a lot more thinning, you'll have a hassle with ours at first because you'll overthin them. And like what Scott was just experiencing, you might have too little opacity right out of the gates. So the thing that we try to teach people right out with trying Procryl is thin less than what you're used to achieve the same results.
Okay.
And that doesn't mean that our paints start thin, right? It's hard to have this conversation because, again, we start with art quality paints, not house quality paints. And I always hate to say that because that's offensive to other brands, and I'm not trying to get everybody wrinkled. But a lot of the people that make paint in the hobby have their paints made for them by companies that also make paint for companies like Glidden and Behr and House Paint. And that world is built around thicker mediums to hold heavier pigment, right? And so if you want a lot of what we call tint strength so that your paint will cover very well, right, you're talking about a thicker paint. And for us, we eschewed all that and said, we're going to make a paint that's lightweight, feels really good on the brush, and covers tremendously without any of that nonsense. It doesn't have to be heavy and feel like snot. You don't have to thin it to make it work the way you want it to work. Our paint just works right out of the bottle the way you want it, right? So to glaze with it, you really only need water on your brush. So don't thin the paint, right? Just put a little bit more water. Like, you'll never see me add water to paint unless I'm turning it into a wash. I just use my brush with a little bit more water loaded onto it. I don't wipe it on the paper towel as much, and then paint with it, and I can glaze with it.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, everything's got a bit of a learning curve.
Oh, yeah. It is. It's just different,
Yeah.
But from Aaron, if you're still there, just let us know, because we will work on more metallic colors, but we're also working on a new formula of metallics.
Mm-hmm. Which are
We might
absolutely-
even let Scott touch them
Ooh.
Oh, yeah,
I
they're
get to touch
super-
them?
while he's here.
It is 5:01. I don't know what
That'd be a
The
great way to
timing
get some
is-
feedback.
Yeah.
for everyone.
Do we want to let him touch them?
We can. You guys want to be done with the stream? Or are you saying you may test them right now?
Oh, no. I don't want to put him under that
Oh,
pressure.
two different
no,
things
I
were
don't
being
care.
said.
Two things. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you can look at them at least.
Okay.
They're on the shelf on the top right.
Like
the
paint bottles?
There's
No, they're painted.
The painted.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm seeing some good things in here.
That makes sense with overthinning based on what you were talking about with him. That's why I asked. Great response. Thanks. Oh, yeah, no problem. I love that about you guys paint great straight out of the bottle. One of your big complaints with the new Army painter is that it's the thickest thing on earth. Well, they had to in order to spend as much pigment as they knew they needed to have, right? That's just it's the standard method of making paint at that, what I'll call grade of paint. And I don't mean that in a demeaning sense, but there is a world of making paint that is artistic and a world of making paint that is construction. Does that make sense? That's the way I break it down for people in a layman's sense. There are art paints where pigments are treated differently, mediums are treated differently, and we make paint for artists. Then there are paints that artists can use but are traditionally made as coatings in a construction world, right? So it's made for painting houses, painting walls, coatings that are meant for, and pigmentation that's meant for like using in injection molded plastics and things like that. And the world of coatings is where a lot of hobby paint comes from.
That's interesting. So if like someone were to go and grab house paint, like a small part of it, and try to paint a mini with it, they would have a similar-ish experience?
Yeah, now you got to understand some of those are using a different latex. They use a different heavier polymer because of the strength that's needed to bond on a wall.
Okay.
So the medium itself is going to be a little bit different for adhesion you're not going to take like a house paint that's meant for exterior and have it act like a hobby paint.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right. So there's nuances
Hi,
to the paint
Jade.
done, but the way it's made is very, very similar.
Gotcha. Okay.
Have you gone to like a Home Depot or Lowe's and had paint made before?
Yeah.
So
It
you know
all
how
starts
they-
from that white base.
Yeah.
That tint base, they call it.
Okay.
And then they just stick it in the machine and it dumps pigment into it. I call it CMYK mixing. There's more pigments than CMYK in those machines, but they all use the exact same pigments. You start with the same green no matter what color you're making. You start with the same yellow no matter what color you're making. They've got a magenta. They may have a red, but probably not. And so all of those colors are made from multiple pigments, and which is not bad, but it doesn't give you the flexibility of choosing the correct base pigment to start from. Because, house paints aren't made to be mixed. House paints are made for tint strength so that you can put a color on the wall and be happy.
Right.
And hopefully as few coats as possible.
Okay.
And so that mentality makes paint a lot differently than artistic paints where you're using, you'll hear people talk about single pigment paints. Well, single pigment paints are not opaque. They're very translucent. And in painting canvases, that's not a horrible thing. And what's funny is that a lot of canvas painters will use very cheap paint for base coats because in a cheaper paint, you'll get more opacity. And they'll base coat with a very opaque paint and then start using the high-end artist paints to do all of their top coats and glazing and things like that with. So art paints are not, tint strength is a big thing for us because obviously we want to be able to cover black primer and such. But color is first and foremost where we're at. Ozpete said, I had a friend who said they like to try Prochrome but love Citadel base colors too much. It took sitting down and showing them PA yellow ochre out of the bottle has better opacity than Averland Sunset. Again, tools are very subjective, right? I can sit here and tell somebody how great our paints are, and they can pick up a brush and dip it in our paint and paint a model and hate our paints and never use them. Who am I to say that person is wrong for liking GW better, right? Because if your process and what leads you to the end of your journey and makes you happy with your miniatures is these set of tools and it doesn't include anything Monument Hobbies makes, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. I'm going to help you find ways to continue doing what you're doing. I support you enjoying your hobby. We would love for everybody to enjoy their hobby with a little bit of Monument in it, but that's not the case for everybody.
Screen Games, you did it right. I don't know why it didn't work for you, but there's the link.
You always wanted a paint mixing machine that is just for tiny paint buckets. Cyanic says, I asked you to sell me on copper. I bought it at the store. Okay, so now I'm trying to place an order and use Whittle Goblin's code, and it doesn't seem to be working. Any thoughts? Huh.
Whittle Goblin's code's not working?
I know we were in her stream yesterday, and people were using the code live, so I'm not sure why. It's reusable, so it shouldn't be a problem. Do you have an old code?
Yeah, make sure you have the right one, and maybe try, I don't know why, but sometimes if you try an incognito window, it works.
Tadpole, they should already be at local game stores, right?
It depends on when the store placed their order and when we shipped it.
Some stores already have
Some
them and
of
are
them
sold
have
out.
it, some of them haven't been shipped yet.
Okay.
We had a pretty substantial stack of store orders that they're working through.
Yeah, they'll invoice them, and then when the invoice is paid, they'll ship. So there may be some where the stores are just getting their invoices, but they'll have it in the next week.
Your guys' wash is dry satin, matte, glossy?
Matt.
Matte? Okay.
Can you scroll back up just a little bit, Jen? You're painting your office walls with PA and a Monument Hobby synthetic size 3. Good luck with all that.
Further up, or
No, you're in the right spot. Aaron says, that makes so much sense. I didn't know enough about paint to know what the problem was, but I knew there was a problem. I'm glad to hear you guys care this much about paint and its quality. Well, thanks. Yeah, again, we're artists who use our paint. We can pretty much easily say every day. There's weekends where we don't paint, but between Jordan and I, we paint every day. And, so wanting something that works well and selling paint don't always coincide, together. We could just sell paint, but we also want paint that we want to work with. And so we had to look, and a lot of that for us was luck, right? Finding a partner early on who was more concerned with quality in a fine art sense than just making colors was something that we had never dreamed we could find as a small business. And the stars aligned. We were able to create a formula of paint that works exactly the way we want it, and that's almost impossible to do, right? Because most people are working with huge companies that have been making paint for dozens, if not hundreds of years, and they don't change. They have one way that they make. They don't make art products too. Those people that make coatings don't turn around and make Winsor Newton paint. That's not the way that works.
Jojo PSD, thank you for the follow. Tadpole, don't even worry about it.
What happened? Oh, no problem.
I usually try to type that and it autocorrects to shit.
We
so.
slip.
You're lucky.
Your autocorrect did the reverse. Miniac answering chat questions like a pro. It's almost like he does this.
What do you mean? This man's never streamed a day in his life.
No, he's answering Monument Hobbies chat questions. Like when the store should have the...
Yeah.
Sapo saying he's acting like a Monument Hobbies employee.
There you
Soon,
go.
soon.
It happens when you walk in the door here for some reason. It's very strange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very strange. It's we put it in the water.
We put it in the water.
Put it in the Coke too. I thought I was drinking earlier.
Yeah.
Amber was trying to sit down at a computer and answer customer service questions earlier.
I did want to try screwing those caps on. Seemed kind of fun.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's kind of fun, man. It's a weird, repetitive task that I get bored with real quick, but it is...
Seems satisfying.
It is very much. I mean, we get people that are just back there in their zone, man,
Yeah.
just cranking away. Dunk.
Man, I could have an audiobook in one ear and just...
I could too. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are good at that.
Yeah.
It freaks me out. I'm like, no, I got to do something else.
Podcast.
I have
Just
enough
let me
like
be.
presence of mind while I'm listening to like books and stuff like that I can both be doing that thing and paying attention and like just have the movie running in my head of the book.
Yeah.
And that's really nice to just be able to like turn off the part of my brain that's is like focused on other things other than just like, because when you're like doing this cap stuff, you're like thinking about other stuff.
That's one of
while
those
doing it.
motions we don't do in public, by the way.
Hold on, I missed it. Do it again. Were you miming the lid thing? Nice.
The other day, you should have seen it, Scott. The other day on stream, I was like, "What was I doing?" I was like, "It's what was the thing?" It's
You're doing like this.
It's
God damn. I was like,
because
"Damn,
I was
stop
like,
it."
"What is it called?"
Kaleidoscope.
I was trying to come up with. I still can't. That's a word that just it eludes me. And so I did that. I told chat not to clip it, so I'm sure they didn't.
Yeah, that never works out.
Tom John's Green, does such a thing as a color equivalent chart exist for Procreate versus top competitors?
No.
No. The best that we do is we work with some of the phone app people out there like Paint Rack. There's a couple of new ones coming out that we're gonna give out all the paint codes and stuff to, so that you can kind of look and get a close approximation. That's only gonna be as good as digital color, right? And the big thing there is we don't. I always feel like this is such an egotistical thing to say, but it isn't coming from a place like that. I don't pay attention to competition colors when I make paints. When I decide what colors we want, it's literally all based on what we like. And so sometimes we get colors that are really close, and a lot of times not, so we don't have a compatibility or a comparable chart because we don't have really anything that's built off of that. There's some companies out there that really are going after like GW, let's say, and they come up with colors that are exact matches. And I just didn't, it's just not something that drives us. So it'd be tough for that, right? But we are working to make better charts to show you like our greens, and here are our reds, and here are ways that you can compare those so you can just kind of hold them up next to other things and see. Because we do understand the importance of knowing, like, if you've got an army, do I have a color that comes close to that is an important question. But it's tough because we don't have anything made to be that specifically.
I don't know. You just put out, honey, we have Goblin Green at home, and it's amazing.
That's the one that everybody always asks for. I don't agree.
Are you talking about Louise's green? I see several of the sets are sold out, but I'm happy to get individual pots. When do you see those sets becoming available again? Yeah, right now we have like 1 or 2 colors out of damn near every set, other than the new ones, and those will probably be out by the end of the day. This has been, I mean, our biggest sales day ever with this release, so it's crazy.
And the day's not over.
Yeah, and it's not even over.
It's not over yet.
Yeah, it had already before lunch surpassed our biggest sales day ever. So again,
Congratulations,
thank you
guys.
for
That's
all the support.
awesome.
It's crazy. It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's nuts. And but that has its cost. the biggest cost that we were not prepared. But our new automated paint machine is up and running as of today. Another tremendous thing. This has been a big day of firsts.
Yeah.
And so heading into the end of this week and heading into next week, we should be able to get all the sets back in pretty quickly. So I would assume by the end of next week, you'll see all the sets back in at some level. And then if they go out, it's only a couple of days before they come back, kind of thing. Everyone loves Louise. She's so great. Jen and I watched her her video last night about going to Salute,
It was
and
so good.
you just want to reach out and hug her.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
so
you did so
naturally
good, girl.
charming, and seems lovely.
Yeah, Green Oxide is out right now. That's keeping some of the Ben and Matt set stuff out. So, and as is Dark Crimson, but those will be back in quickly. Aaron, you love Paint Rack. Great program. Great program. I don't know who's working out what to make for the YouTube shorts, but those little tutorials are so great. That's Mr. Jordan.
That is Jordan.
Hi.
That's Jordan. He
I
comes
do
and
those.
convinces me he's got good ideas, and then they make them.
Yeah.
You feel like with every new release, you guys say it's the biggest sales day ever. That's the truth.
It kind of has
It
been.
is.
As a matter of fact, what Jen did is came in and dropped a piece of paper on my desk and said, "Here are all the big releases recently over the past like year and a half," and yeah, they just keep scaling. It's crazy, and that is like literally a big hearty thank you to you guys and gals out there, because your support, we can't do it without you. You guys have decided that our craziness and the way we make paints, that you've decided you like it too, and you use them, and that's great. The Slayer Sword winner at Golden Demon this year in the U.S. used Pro-Acryl on that entire model.
He did.
Pro-Acryl won a Slayer Sword with Alex.
Mm-hmm.
So awesome.
Alex Dos Santos.
Yeah.
Santos.
Sapo, have a good one. How many orders so far today prior to the stream starting? Well over 1,000.
Over 1,000. Yeah. Exact. Thank you. And thank you earlier. I did see your comments about liking the new website. So thank you. Glad to hear that.
Evan, we have reached out in our conversations with Louise and her team at Rogue to talk about that. They are not at a position right now where they're super comfortable with the kind of numbers that means for production, but we're working with them. So I would hope that in the future we could do that, carry some of the Goblin Town stuff. Exact, awesome. As Pete says, thanks, Jordan. They're brilliant. I love seeing the colors you work up through.
You are most welcome. I
mean,
am glad.
Jordan is good painter.
Yeah, it's funny. I had one of my like local buddies here that I play games with. He was like, "Man, that I really liked the yellow guy. What's the faction?
Reach. Oh, wait, yellow guy.
The short.
Houdini, I
Not Iron
definitely did
Hands.
not say
Imperial
that.
Fist.
Thank you,
Yes.
Imperial Fist guy.
I was like, that's not something a man forgets.
Sometimes
I want to go home.
Can you scroll back up real quick,
Imperial
Jen?
Fist. And he was like, I really loved that. I want you to do one for all the factions.
Yeah.
And I was like,
The most recent airbrush one?
Yeah.
Yeah. that was
Yeah, it was
great.
just like, it was perfect. It was like really simple.
Yeah.
Very
Super great.
effective. Great way to do that.
Transparent
So-
yellow king. Worm says, I'm glad I stumbled on the channel. I'm a midlifer re-entering into the miniature world, but instead of playing, I just want to focus on painting. Life is settling down, and I can dedicate some time and space to enjoy it, and you're grateful. Well, we're grateful for you, because that's awesome. Welcome back to the hobby. Everybody will exit and enter, and it's always great to see somebody come back in and find something that gets them jazzed and to get the time to really sit down and focus. It's such a great hobby. I do more painting than playing, too, so you have friends here.
Phoenix Mercer, I'm assuming Brussels sprouts.
Nope. Go away. Get them away from us.
I don't mind if you only sell a few of their models, mostly to me.
Oh, okay, Gamadile. I see how this is going.
How did Jordan learn to paint? YouTube?
Me? Some YouTube. when I first started painting, there was not a whole lot of video
I was gonna
content.
say
out
he's
there.
been painting for a long time. There wasn't a lot of miniature painting content.
Yeah, I mean, I've been painting for 20 years.
Azathoth, no.
And I mean, granted, not all of it has been super productive on a learning side, because I feel like really, like sitting down and learning to get better is something that takes, after a certain point, takes a lot of like concerted effort. Of like, I'm practicing this thing, I'm working on these things, and then as you do that over and over and over again, you'll build a knowledge base. And the repetitive motions that you're using with your brush, you just get better with that. But where did I learn stuff? I learned a lot of stuff from Brendan. He was very helpful in like kind of bridging a gap, breaking a plateau, and then beyond that, it's a lot of just observation and the excitement and interest in learning to get better, learning and getting better.
Yeah.
If you have the passion for it and you really want to learn to get better, just find all of the resources that you can that have good information for you, and even bad information. Just consume lots of information and spend a lot of time doing it.
One last one from Wind Powered Games. Any tips for using your paint with an airbrush? Put them in, spray it. For a lot of the colors, believe it or not, Jordan and I don't thin at all. Now, we're in a very dry climate, so that can have both positive and adverse effects on painting with the airbrush. It means that we can see tip dry a little quicker when we don't put any type of, like our glaze wash medium as a flow improver or something like that through it. But in general, if we were painting like one model and setting it up for base coats, then just putting the paint into the airbrush and spraying gives you tremendous vibrancy, great coverage, and really smooth coats. If you're in a spot that's more humid, you may want to add a little bit of thinner. So if you have a way that you like to airbrush, there's no reason why that won't work with our paints. It's just like I was speaking with Scott before, thin less right out of the gates. So I would typically say that if you're used to thinning 1-to-1 to airbrush other paints, cut that back. Do 2-to-1 paint to thinner. Kind of cut your thinning in half, and you'll get really great results. And like anything, you're just gonna test from starting to work. What works for your process. How do you like to paint? Do you build up your layers in multiple thinner layers and filter more, or are you a big, heavy, opaque, single pass kind of painter? Our paints will do both, so don't be afraid to mix and match how you like. But once you dial it in, you'll find that all of our paints spray the same way. You don't have to change color to color to try to figure out what to make work and how a different color might work.
Can you talk about the difference between magnesium and dark bronze for psionic? Having trouble differentiating them on the screen.
Magnesium and dark bronze?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll break it down.
Do you remember the old 10 bits color from GW?
Yeah, dude.
That's
Yeah.
magnesium.
Yep. Isn't that dark bronze?
I'm sorry?
Isn't that dark bronze?
Dark bronze, sorry.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Dark bronze.
Pretty sure you got that flipped.
Yeah, sorry, got that flipped. Dark bronze. And then magnesium is more of a silver.
Yeah, it's like a kind of like a. If you would think about like putting a black wash over silver, or like a dirty brown black wash over silver, like that's kind of the effect that you get out of the magnesium.
Hugin, awesome.
It's like a dirty silver, which works great for like armor plates that are are all banged up and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic color.
Azathoth, he used to. Well, he worked.
But
for
totally
GW.
different colors. They
Yeah.
play well together.
And
You
he's
could
been
you could
painting
dark
since he
bronze
was a
and then
kid.
magnesium over the top of dark bronze and get a really great color workout, by the way. What are you starting with?
Magnesium.
Magnesium.
I could swear right now, but that seems not the vibe. You're allowed to swear. Huggin said, "Thanks, guys, for always holding paint day. I really improved my painting. Just picked up the Rogue Hobby set. Love your normal turquoise color. Can't wait to play with dark turquoise.
Awesome.
Yay. My Tyranids are turquoise purple with orange and yellow as the
Oh,
accent.
that's nice. That sounds very vibrant and bright. I like it.
Atsu, I think magnesium.
As
my
Thought says, we
favorite.
don't match colors to our competition. You remember the old 10 bits color from GW? Well, but they don't make it anymore, and that was one of my favorite colors.
Yeah.
So I am solving a problem, not copying. Big difference.
Yeah, they got rid of it. So
Magnesium, yeah, Atsu. Magnesium is amazing. It's such a good color. Look at that.
Isn't that sweet?
Yeah, but it's kind of like a very dull, dirty silver right out of the bottle,
Yeah.
right? Whereas
is
dark
nice.
bronze is a definite brownish metal.
Yeah. So I'm gonna do dark bronze here next.
Like I said, they work great together. Also related, when switching colors with airbrush, should you spray water to clear color prior to adding the next? That's what I do, unless you're doing a color workup across a range of the same hue.
There was
So,
a previous question too.
so okay. So if I'm looking, so is it from the same person, from Mike?
Yeah.
Watch the airbrush cleaning video on YouTube. You mentioned that covering the nozzle and back mixing is not great for the airbrush. Should you mix before placing in airbrush when thinning? Yeah, typically. Yeah, back mixing and mixing in the airbrush. You'll find me mixing a little bit in the airbrush sometimes, but I typically put it in a graduated cup, mix it up, get it to the right consistency, pour it into the airbrush spray. Right, just let the airbrush be a tool for spraying. Make sure your paint is right before you put it in the cup, and you'll be much better off long term. You can damage the needle by mixing in the cup. You can actually put a slight bend to that portion of the needle, which will hurt the needle draw. And then back flushing hurts the seal to the rear of the needle, that seat that goes before your valve. But yeah, just put water and spray to clear the color. But like I said, if you're spraying, let's say you're spraying a range of blues, right? And you start with dark blue, and then you go to a mid-tone blue, and then a highlight blue. Then I don't spray to totally clear. I let that first, maybe a little bit of that dark color sit in there before I add the mid-tone, and that's still fine because that actually gives me a mix of those two for the first instance that I'm spraying, and then it kind of gradually turns into the right color. So you can play with a dirty airbrush to get you some cool effects when mixing.
Evan, yes, it does include that, but I think when I say it, I put a caveat in the video saying I'm not sure if this is very good for the airbrush, but I'm not sure I totally understand what you're saying, Jason.
So there's a seal at the rear of the needle seat that is the seal that keeps paint from back flushing into the valve.
Got it.
Right.
Or the valve. The trigger
that
area?
What's that?
The trigger area?
The trigger area.
Okay.
Yeah, and so as you hold your finger over the front of the airbrush, the path of least resistance will be pushed, and there's actually air both in the cup and behind towards the trigger. Yeah, so it could equally go through. That seal is pretty good, but over time it'll age, and you'll start putting paint into the valve, and that can cause the trigger to stick. Right, so you'll get it to where you'll push down and you might not get any air because the spring is gunked and the valve is closed all the time.
Okay.
So it won't hurt anything. It just causes you to have to maintenance your airbrush in a way that some people don't want to, because taking the valve off is one of those more tricky feats that you have to pull off.
Yeah.
Because there's always that little bitty spring that likes to sproing.
Yeah.
And
That and also getting it back to the right tightness on the needle is it requires a lot of fiddling. You got to put the needle in, take it out, and tighten it a little bit. It's just a pain in the butt.
Yeah. But we all do it. I mean, I do it from time to time too. If I've noticed I've just cleaned some dry tip off and I'm noticing that the paint's spraying a little rough, I'll back flush it just briefly, and then that'll loosen it up and get it spraying better.
Okay.
It's all learned stuff. There's always a great, priority of ways to treat a tool, but we all mess up,
Sure.
We'll use the back end of the screwdriver to drive a nail from time to time.
Red Yeti said, I release almost every day because of Miniac, but why are you celebrating a release?
What the hell?
Wow, you were somebody's spank bank, Scott. That's what I just read.
Scott's dead.
We
Monument
released
After Hours.
18 new paints today.
My wife is here.
That's what we're celebrating.
She's more impressed by you now than she was 5 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you think about that, Ems?
You learned from a few videos that all said to backflow with water multiple times to clean the airbrush. Thanks for the clarity. I mean, I say don't do it. I've been doing this for a long time, and that's where all the problems with the valve on the trigger assembly come from, is from back flushing water into that part of the assembly. There's no other way for paint to get there. It's when that seal starts to loosen up and then back flushing, and back flushing causes that to age prematurely. So it just causes more maintenance and eventually the replacing of that seal quicker. So maybe Harder and Steenbeck has something magical about theirs, but I've used every airbrush out there and I don't recommend it, right? But the quality of the gasket, but at some point in time, you're talking about a little seal that has a piece of stainless steel rubbing on it all the time. So just from friction alone, it's going to wear.
I
I got a question for the people in the room that are familiar with Monument Hobbies. To paint a large surface area like this hood or anything like a big flowing cape, how would you approach it? Would you layer up from dark? Would you do heavy layers and then glaze transitions in between those heavy layers? What would be your approach with the Monument Hobby things?
So Jason and I largely have similar answers to this,
Okay.
although I will tend to do a little bit more back and forth than he does. But we always start dark to light.
Okay.
So I'll start with, my darkest color in the shadows, and then I'll build it up to my brightest highlight.
Okay.
Now I will go back and I will adjust things as I'm doing that.
And how do you adjust things?
So as I'm highlighting up, I'll be going, okay, I highlighted too much of this,
Yeah.
and then I'll pull it back down with a darker color.
Do you do that with thinner paints than you did the original layers?
Yes.
Okay.
So it
How
ends
much
up being
thinner?
a little bit of a glaze almost.
Okay.
It's like a medium level glaze. So when I do it, it's like halfway between like a glaze and a wash almost.
Okay.
From a consistency perspective, like a wash has more pigment to it.
Yeah.
You want to thin down a glaze more.
That's so good.
So it's thinner.
Okay.
So it's halfway in between those generally. If I were to like put a note, like a specific note on it.
Okay.
So I like to go back and forth with a lot of that.
Okay.
But I'm a lot more finicky. Jason will just build it up from start to finish.
Okay. Okay.
I would like to go back to Jiminy Paints, who said, I've also heard recently not to put primer in an airbrush. Anyone smarter than me have any info on that? I say do it.
I do it, yeah.
Primer.
I do it, but I have multiple airbrushes, and I have one that I just dedicate to priming, and then one that I have for just like the thin paint work. But yeah, I think they're okay. in
We
the
just made a
airbrush.
better primer, and you can use it in your airbrush with all your
Our
normal
primer
paint.
works great in an airbrush.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I
should
mean,
be
other
okay.
primers before we made our own, I used all sorts of other primers. But like Scott just said, I always had a specific priming airbrush prior to us making our own primer.
Right.
We made our primer with a lighter polyurethane. It still has great adhesion, but it's a lighter bodied primer, so it sprays and lays flat and cleans up super nice. Because most other primers use a very heavy polyurethane in them, and it tends to gum up your airbrush over time. You'll get the inside of the cup will be whatever primer color you use the most, and you just can't get it out. So if you're not using our primer, I would suggest having an airbrush with like a 0.3 or 0.5 needle that you use for priming all the time, and leave it for that specifically. And you can buy a cheap one. You can buy like a cheap Masters airbrush for that.
Also,
It doesn't have to do much.
no fear with primer, especially also with base layers. Just like crank that PSI.
Yeah.
Go to like 30, 35, heck, even go 40, and just like crank it. So shouldn't get too clogged.
You can be like Aaron Lovejoy. You can run it at 50 psi and blow your
runs it at
blow your hose up.
50 psi.
He runs at 50. He ran for 50 psi and blew the hose up.
Oh no.
Hilarious.
Storm of Wrenches said, I fought with my airbrush setup for 3 days after I bought and took an L. I should try again.
Airbrushing is one of those things, it takes a while to finesse it to the way that, like...
Well, and just to get used to it, and don't be afraid to just
different
spray
tool.
paint raw right out of the bottle, no matter what paint you got, to see how it works. Start thinning a little bit, spray it, do a little bit more. Do it on loose sprue, do it on a rando mini you got laying around, whatever you want to do. And play with it. It's a tool that you have to get used to. You have to get used to cleaning and maintaining it first and foremost. And then it's really just a matter of figuring out where your dexterity on trigger control happens and finding out how well you can control what I call the paint no paint zone, which is where the brush is just spraying air and then starts adding paint in, because your ability to control and ride that fine line is going to be what sets you into being able to do detail work and more techniques with the brush.
So I'm gonna do a little
Plastic
bit of
spoons are good.
a demo here to kind of explain what I was talking to Scott about.
Yes, please do.
So I'm gonna start from...
Can you move
Dark
up a little,
plum.
Jordan, so we can see?
Yeah, sorry. I'm starting from like a dark plum. This is a similar workup to what I did on this guy. It's gonna be a little bit more saturated, a little bit more kind of an orangish color.
Okay.
But I used a lot of dark plum on here.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna let that dry.
Sugar Rush doing coloring book pages works. That's good for detail.
Somebody asked what set the dark bronze comes in.
Dark bronze is just in Matt Seshwish's set,
Yeah.
one of the signature series, but you can buy it individually. You don't have to buy the stuff in paint in sets.
T. Schmidt asked if I'm considering remaking my older series where I compare primers and whatnot and other tools, and yeah, definitely, I'd love to do that again. I'd love to compare wet palettes. I'd love to compare painting handles, all kinds of stuff.
You still struggle with the right PSI. We paint at 22, but it's very dry here, right? So humidity, barometric pressure has a lot to do with all that. So play around with it, but anything lower than about 20 winds up being a little bit rough. You're not pushing enough air. You might get some spattering. Anything higher than 25, Scott, for base coating, like he said, you can go higher than 25 and get away with it. If you're doing, anything like detail oriented or highlights, then higher than that can start to spider web your paint depending on how thin it is. So again, it just depends because there's all sorts of physical requirements there, like how far away are you spraying? A lot of people treat airbrushes like spray cans and they hold it a little bit further away from the model, and you got to be able to work in close with an airbrush. And by close I mean like get comfortable spraying 2 to 4 inches away from the model max.
Yeah.
Unless you're priming or base coating, get comfortable getting in there and then being able to control the way the paint hits the model and doesn't spider web out and doesn't cause overloading, because you'll at first you'll aim at a particular part of the model for too long and you'll put too much paint there and it'll puddle, and so you'll just have to learn how to continually move your hand. That's just part of aerosol painting in general. Whether you're painting with a spray can or using an HPLV gun to paint a car, you've constantly got to move the paint source, which is the airbrush can, etc. You got to keep it moving. You don't ever want it to be aiming at the same part of the model for too long. Even when you're doing tight details, you're moving in really small, tight circles with the brush, so that it's always spraying in the same area you want, but never in the exact same location on the model.
So Scott, do you do a lot of wet blending on all?
When I start out with a big surface, yeah, I'll do wet blending, and then I will add bright highlights, dark shadows, and I'll glaze to fix everything.
Yeah.
Okay. 'Cause that's another thing that I do a lot. Like I started doing it on this side of the cloak while I'm waiting for this to dry over here.
Okay.
Is because I went over this other side with the dark plum, and just that blending between the two worked really well to get kind of that mid-tone.
Okay.
So this is another thing that I'll do a lot, just to build out kind of a sketch of the color for the mid-tone and the highlights.
Move airbrush or move model when airbrushing? I prefer to move the airbrush.
Yeah, I move the airbrush.
You move both eventually, right? Because you might tilt the model at some point to get a better aim at it. But moving the airbrush is going to be your best bet. Not moving the surface you're trying to aim at.
My problem that I can't really solve with airbrushes right now is you're referring to dexterity, which is a great word for trigger control.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get a clean, fresh airbrush. You're doing tiny little bursts to snipe a spot on the model. You're pulling back that trigger 1 mil, even less.
Yep.
Eventually, at some point, you start pulling the trigger back that same distance, and no paint's coming out.
Sure.
You're getting buildup in there, and so you kind of got to pull it back a little bit more, a little bit more,
And
a little
then
bit
it
more.
burps on you, yeah.
And I would just love if it would just be consistent for I don't know, maybe 5 minutes, so I could finish a part, then clear my dry tip, and then move on to the next part. Because it's hard, because it's not just the same amount of pullback every single time. It's a slight increase as that acrylic paint dries.
Lower
on that
your
tip.
PSI. Because
you
you're
think the
driving
air
too
is
much,
drying the tip?
You're driving too much volume of paint that can't make it through the aperture for as little as you're pulling the needle back, because it's still driving a ton of air at the PSI, so it's pulling a lot of paint from the cup and shoving it into the nozzle, so you have more paint there to start clogging quicker. That paint's not even making it out because if you're pulsing, especially, the needle's only drawing back enough for that quick pulse.
Yeah.
But you've backloaded a ton of paint in there, and it's all waiting its turn in line. As opposed to with lower pressure, you're not building up as much paint in the back. You're pulling fresher paint each time. Not really, but you get my drift. You're not loading as much paint in the needle.
How much lower PSI are we talking here? 1, 2, 3, or 5? Or...
I mean, we spray at 22.
22.
Yeah, I spray at 19.
Okay.
Or whatever.
You're having
20,
that problem at
something
19?
Yeah, I am.
Huh.
Are you thinning your paints?
Then maybe
Yeah.
thin it
What
more.
are you thinning them with?
I thin with Iron Painter, I thin with AK, I thin with Vallejo, all interchangeably. I thin with Scale 75s, all airbrush thinners.
So airbrush
Alcohol?
I don't.
Base?
Maybe I don't know what's in them. I don't know.
thinners, well, thinners typically will cause your paint to dry faster.
Right. I mean,
which
I just
might be.
Do you use flow improver at all?
I don't, but I tried that one time, and the viscosity of flow improver is thicker than, say, of water, and so it made it more difficult to drive paint through the airbrush.
Using water to cut your paint and then flow improver to as kind of like an oil in it is a much better way to thin, no matter what climate you're in, than any thinner.
What the heck, bro?
Yeah, maybe a little bit of glaze and wash medium
Okay.
if I want it to be thicker.
Okay.
All right. Because like just thinning for fluidity, like water is fine, right? For
I don't know.
viscosity, fluidity.
Okay. Honestly, I've never
Game
tried
Delay
just water.
says, Scott, as an alternative, just lower your standards.
Well, it's just annoying, you know. I get annoyed about really small things when I'm like painting. Like I have, I have a way I want to do things, and so I notice that stuff.
Atsu, and this is one of the caveats to what I said about going below 20 psi. If you're doing pulse painting like what Scott's talking about, lower psi is going to be better because it drives less paint to the nozzle, and that's what causes your large problem. Because you want your paint thin, you want to be able to get out little spurts of paint because number one, you're generally trying to do a finer area of detail where you don't want a lot of buildup over, instantaneously. You want to do it over time so you can get it right. But if you've got really high psi as you're doing that, you're driving a lot of paint into the nozzle end, and it's not all exiting the needle because you're doing it so quick with the finger motion that's basically just pulsing. So I think our camera froze. I'm not moving anymore.
Oh.
So now it's time
You know
to
what?
go.
It
Oh,
was-
is that
it
what
was-
that? Yeah.
It kept like chiming and saying the USB device is charging or something.
I saw
Oh,
that pop
Jesus.
up.
And I
we
didn't
might
know
have a
what it
battery
was.
dead or something. Christopher.
Oh, the camera is dead.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. It timed out.
I mean, it's
Is it not
5:40.
We don't know. But
Is it plugged into?
now we're both disembodied voices over here. That's fine. It's time for us to go anyway.
Should I turn it off?
No, it's fine. Oh, the window down there? Yeah, you can turn
The
it off.
chair
You
can
can
turn
go
off.
back to. You just have to undo the eye.
I don't want to mess.
No, don't mess with it,
I'm
yeah.
just gonna leave it.
You're fine.
And
You're
we'll
fine.
just start to wrap.
They
things
can.
up
They
here.
can. I'm not in an awkward. Well, I'm kind of like mid sentence, so it's fine.
It's.
You look plenty beautiful like
The
that.
Monument casting couch camera is broke. So we set up a new camera on there that looks a lot better, but I don't know that they actually charge the battery.
It looks like it's plugged in, but that I don't know. There's something plugged into it. But that could be the charging.
I think it's just the USB-C,
Yeah, that's probably what it is. 'Cause it doesn't
which won't
look
charge
like-
it.
Yeah. Which is USB.
But thank you, everybody, for joining us. If anybody joined us over from the Miniac stable, thank you for coming and seeing our crazy little world. Thank you so much to Scott and Amber for hanging out with us today. It's been great having them around for everything, and even joining in on the stream is even better.
Heck yeah!
So awesome.
Happy to be here.
And to you guys and gals out there watching, if you're new around here, please hit that follow button. We'd love to see you back. We do this 5 days a week from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time normally. If you have no idea what Mountain Standard Time is, just look up what time it is in Phoenix, Arizona. If it's 2 p.m., get your butt over here.
It's better to. Yeah, it's definitely better to look up Phoenix, Arizona time
Google what time is it in Phoenix.
as opposed to Mountain time because there were some problems with that this morning.
Azathoth says, I would wish goodbye to Amber, but she doesn't like Lord of the Rings. She actually whispered to me over here in private that she loves Lord of the Rings. She just loves pissing off chat better. So
Game Delay
something I
said,
would
"Thanks
say."
for coming, Amber. My children don't love
sounds
Lord
like
of the
something I
Rings,
would
but I
say.
still love them."
Oh, good.
see, Gamed Elay making it all better. All right, but thank you, everybody. Stick around. We're going to find somebody to raid, but make sure to check out all the links that Jen put in chat as well. Our store where you can pick up all of your wonderful Monument Hobbies products, including the most recent 18 colors we just dropped for the new 3 signature sets. Go support your favorite artist, pick up some paints, learn something new, hang out with us. Be lots of fun. And then the YouTube and the Discord. Discord has got some ridiculous amount of amazing artists and
We've lost count.
Ghost Hunter. So,
Who is also an awesome artist.
who's also an awesome artist.
Everyone over there is an awesome
And we'd love to see you over in the community. You get all the up-to-date information. You get to know when stuff is going live before it goes live, which is always fun. And really bad jokes, pet pics, and food. So great place to hang out. We'd love to see you over there. But stick around for the raid. If you're over watching us on YouTube, please join us over on Twitch for the raid. Show some love to whoever's channel we wind up in, and carry your hobby on into the evening. We'll be back again at the regular scheduled time at 2 p.m. tomorrow.
Wait, Brutal Burrito, before
Oh.
the stream ends, just wanted to thank Scott and his YouTube for being my intro into painting. You guys are
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
They are awesome. Good friends, good people to have around. So thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful time at your evening chat. Remember, show some love in the chat. We wind up. It's free to hit that follow button, and we'll catch you back here tomorrow. Adios.
See you guys.
Peace.
Bye.